Universal Studios has opened up its facility specifically for departmental training. And what a training site they chose, the actual War of the Worlds set, complete with a 747 plane, destroyed of course, and a prop to help simulate an emergency situation. It's all part of urban search and rescue drills taking part throughout the state over 2 days. The drills issued by the governor's office and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. Here in Southern California, crews from LA, Orange, and Sacramento counties are teaming up.
Whether it's an earthquake, whether it's a fire, whether it's a terrorist incident, whether it's a weather event, we need to be ready for that moment when our people are going to depend on us.
At another training site in Sherman Oaks, crews test a new firefighting tool called a multi-rotor copter. It's a military-style drone the size of a child's toy. LA City firefighters are now considering using it when manned aircraft are too dangerous to deploy.
There might be hazardous materials, there might be the roads that just don't allow us to get there, overhead wires, active shooter.
The multi-rotor copter can shoot photos and video from up to 400 feet away and transmit images back to ground crews in real time. In case an earthquake topples a freeway, crews test out their Pomeroy drills, which can penetrate concrete. And with the help of cameras and K9 units, can help crews find victims stuck in the rubble. Part of a multi-agency effort to ensure a speedy, coordinated response when disaster strikes. In Sherman Oaks, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
You can do your part to prepare for disasters by putting together an emergency preparedness kit. For details on this and other life-saving tips, go to readyla.org. LA City Council members have unanimously signed off on a package of revisions to Mayor Eric Garcetti's 2014-2015 budget proposal. The council's $8.1 billion budget bridges the projected shortfall of $242 million in the upcoming year with the help of taxes, savings on employee pensions and benefits, surplus funds, and the city's reserves.
The office of Councilmember Paul Krikorian, who serves as the Budget and Finance Chair, released this infographic to help residents better understand this upcoming year's city budget. The city's counting on $5.1 billion in revenue, with the largest percentage, 32%, from property taxes, followed by 16% from licenses, permits, fees, and fines. The budget will cover 2,400 miles of street repairs, as well as 350,000 potholes to be filled. And public safety remains the number one issue, as council appropriates money to help coordinate the city's emergency dispatch systems, to purchase fire safety equipment, to keep 11 ambulances on the streets, and to hire 200 new firefighters, as well as maintain police hiring levels.
And in This Week in Tweets, Councilmember Paul Krikorian shared this photo taken in council chambers on the day council approved the 2014-2015 budget proposal. All 15 council members are seen standing behind Chief Legislative Analyst Jerry Miller, whose office is critical in aiding the council during the budget process. Krikorian writes, the city council approved the $8.1 billion LA budget. It's responsible, adds services, and preserves critical programs. Krikorian even retweeted a congrats from Council President Herb Wesson, who wrote great budget work to Krikorian and other members of the Budget and Finance Committee. The positive mood seems to come from the fact that compared with years past, the council members came to consensus relatively quickly and amicably during this year's budget process. Retail giant Forever 21 is making its mark on the environment by going solar. Company officials recently made the announcement at their headquarters in Lincoln Heights. Yana Kay reports.
Forever 21 has proven to be a game changer in the fashion industry, and now the retailer is looking to do the same for the environment. The company announced during a press conference that it's going solar by installing solar panels on 15 acres of roof space at its headquarters in Lincoln Heights.
It is truly rewarding to give back to the city of Los Angeles and the environment while striving to double the size of Forever 21 worldwide, and also adding over 20,000 additional jobs in the next 3 years.
Forever 21 CEO Don Chang said the company is in a unique position to accelerate the adoption of clean energy in Los Angeles. Mayor Eric Garcetti applauded the move, saying it will help LA lead by example.
We are setting the pace. We are designing the that move the world forward.
The solar panels will help keep the warehouse cool by reflecting heat and reducing the temperature inside the warehouse. Officials say the system will be the largest single rooftop solar power system in Los Angeles. The solar panels makes Forever 21 the latest business to participate in the Department of Water and Power's Clean Energy Incentive Program. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The solar panel installation is expected to be completed this summer. Well, the city has been celebrating Asian American heritage during the month of May. And for his part, the LA City Attorney took the opportunity to highlight the legal contributions of Asian Americans. Rasha Goel has more.
It was a rare opportunity, a chance to hear trailblazer California Chief Justice Tani Cantil Sakaue speak openly about her experiences. Sworn into office on January 3, 2011, Cantil Sakaue is the first Asian Filipino American and only the second woman to serve as the state's Chief Justice.
And so you graduated from law school, and then you did something that most people here don't know you did. You became a blackjack dealer.
I don't know if anyone remembers their first year in law school. It was hard to get a paying job, and so I went to Harrah's and dealt 21 for the summer.
At this special event presented by LA City Attorney Mike Fuhrer and the Asian Pacific City Attorneys Association, Cantil Sakaue, the 28th Chief Justice of California, spoke candidly and humorously about her experiences. Attendees also had the opportunity to ask the Chief Justice questions.
I wanted to hear your thoughts on the current controversy surrounding affirmative action, both as a person from such a diverse background and as Chief Justice.
I see both sides, and I also think that in terms of what we do for the judiciary, that's the kind of decision that's best left to the legislature because they have the forum to actually hold the hearings and take the testimony.
Los Angeles Deputy City Attorney Kenneth Fong was also recognized at the event as the Asian Pacific American City Attorney of the Year.
Ken, you are a model for what it means to be a genuine team member in an office where we value collaboration exceptionally highly.
Sometimes we feel like cogs in a wheel, but I think if we step back and we look at what we're a small part of, I think we can feel really proud of ourselves.
And it is a moment to feel proud, not only for their accomplishments, but for the examples they are setting for future generations. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
And judging from Gil's report, as long as you've got passion, you can achieve great things. And at City Hall, a new program is offering free courses for those passionate about city government. Anna Marcos tells us all about Civic University.
You're seeing the ABCs of city government on warp speed. The city's long-running City Government 101, a course which teaches residents about local government, has evolved into this two-day classroom pilot project called Civic University, a team effort by the mayor's office and Cal State LA to make residents more civic savvy.
If that was college, this is kind of like grad school. This is the extended course that will go deep into how people can get involved, serving on commissions, getting involved with their neighborhood councils, changing laws.
All the political scientists like myself know that basically the more knowledge people have about the system, the more likely they are to participate. And this is a city that's had low voter participation, but even those who vote often don't know how the government works.
The course is divided in two parts. The first covers the basic workings of government. Citizens come up with an issue they want to change in their community. The next class covers how to bring about that change.
We ended up settling on communities that don't have libraries, and many of those are lower income.
The proliferation of medical marijuana clinics and the need to regulate that, and in East Hollywood, for example, we have over 50 in a 3 square mile area, which is insane.
Something nice for the community, because not only would it bring business, but it would bring jobs.
Organizers aim to spread the word about Civic University, and eventually they will offer a certificate course in local government at Cal State LA, because they believe that citizens with a little knowledge and participation can change not only laws, but their entire communities. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information on Civic University, you can call the mayor's office at City Hall or the Pat Brown Institute at Cal State LA. It's been a couple of years since a familiar Hollywood building was officially registered as a National Historic Monument. Now those who made it possible are getting some much-deserved recognition. Siobhan Burton reports.
You've likely seen or heard of this school before. It's the alma mater of several celebrities, including Carol Burnett, Judy Garland, and John Ritter. But Hollywood High School is actually a star in its own right, having made it onto the National Register of Historic Places.
1, 2, 3. All right.
While the school has been on the National Register since 2012, bronze plaques are just now being unveiled to thank those whose hard work helped place the school on the coveted list.
Hollywood High makes me proud a lot more than I make Hollywood High proud, I promise you.
Los Angeles Unified School District Board Vice President Steve Zimmer, himself an alumni, was among those whose efforts were recognized. Council members Mitch O'Farrell and Tom LaBonge say Hollywood High School is among the city's many landmarks.
For me, Hollywood High was this mythical place, and I think Hollywood and Hollywood High School is mythical for people the world over.
Congratulations on this recognition, and Christy, there's nothing like our high schools, there's nothing like Hollywood High. Hail, hail, hail Hollywood High!
From Hollywood, I'm Siobhan Burton for LA This Week.
It's a one-of-a-kind art show tucked in an out-of-the-way corner of downtown LA. We're talking about the Brewery Art Walk, which takes art to a new level. Anna Marcos shows us why.
The largest art colony in the country is throwing its doors open to the public. Twice a year, the 800 artists who live at the brewery give Angelenos an up-close look at their art. The artists tell us why there's no show like the Brewery Art Walk anywhere.
There's not a lot of commercial going on here. You're not going to see all of the restaurants and everybody else kind of turning it more into a street fair. This is strictly about art. When you go door to door and you walk inside someone's home and you see the work that they do day and night, what they're sacrificing for, what they're, it's really inspiring.
Visitors get treated to a wide range of artwork, from paintings to sculpture to performance art. Artist Kevin Raleigh tells us how he got started as a mixed media photo artist.
So I took a little black and white photo, covered it in oil paint, took some tissue paper and rubbed it off, and that was the first what I call oil graphs, this hybrid between photography and oil paint.
From the laid-back atmosphere to the old commercial warehouses turned artist studios, everywhere you look, art trumps commercialism here. But if you want to buy a piece of artwork, that's all right too. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information, visit breweryartwalk.com. One of LA's most recognizable streets, Sunset Boulevard, is showing its age, but as Tara Gibson reports, improvements are finally being made to help the iconic street preserve its star power, and it's starting first in Echo Park.
Thank you for coming to the first of many exciting streetscape improvements, not only in the 13th District, but all along this stretch of Sunset Boulevard, along the historic Route 66.
The Sunset Boulevard Streetscape Improvement Project will focus on beautifying the city by fixing broken sidewalks, replanting new trees, installing new benches, distributing new solar-operated trash receptacles, and repainting crosswalks.
It's every one of our responsibility who has a civic leader to make sure that we work hard, first and foremost, to make sure that our communities are safe. Not only that they're safe, but that there are places that make us proud.
Congressman Xavier Becerra says the taxes Angelenos have been paying for the Sunset Boulevard Streetscape project since 2009 are finally giving back to the community.
That is government in action, and that is government working for the people.
Kelly Erickson, an Echo Park resident, says the cracked sidewalks have been a big issue in the community, and she's hopeful the Streetscape project will make the necessary improvements.
We're really excited. Looking forward to safer and cleaner streets in Echo Park.
I'm Tara Gibson, reporting for LA This Week.
The Streetscape project will stretch 1.4 miles down Sunset Boulevard between Everett Street and Rosemont Avenue. And the sidewalks surrounding Echo Park Lake also get a complete makeover. You can weigh in on LAPD Chief Charlie Beck's application for a second term as head of the police department, and almost 1,000 students sing together in a choir. These stories and more in City Beat. Los Angeles Police Chief Charlie Beck has submitted his application to the Board of Police Commissioners for a second term as police chief. The commission will be holding 2 community meetings to receive public input on the chief's application. The first meeting will be held on June 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Westchester Rec Center at 7000 West Manchester Avenue. The second meeting will take place on July 8th with the time and location to be announced. Emails are also welcomed at reappointment@lapd.lacity.org. The commission has until August 19th to vote on the chief's application. The Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks just broke ground on a $1.5 million sidewalk improvement project along Echo Park Avenue. The concrete sidewalk surrounding the entire outer perimeter of Echo Park Lake will be replaced, creating easier access as outlined in the Americans with Disabilities Act. Councilman Mitch O'Farrell says the project will create a safe passageway for visitors and improve access at one of the most popular city parks. Residents in Porter Ranch have yet another reason to get fit, a free outdoor gym for all ages. City leaders held a ribbon cutting for the Holly Burnson Memorial Park Outdoor Fitness Zone, which includes a rowing machine, push-up station, leg press, elliptical machine, and chest press.
We have definitely enjoyed this park for jogging and running and picnicking, and now this is absolutely wonderful that we have a place to exercise and stay even more fit.
The fitness area is part of the Department of Recreation and Parks' effort to install fitness zones for park users throughout the city. And the Walt Disney Concert Hall recently hosted the 25th Annual High School Choir Festival. The festival is one of the largest high school choir festivals in the nation, showcasing the vocal talents of 900 students from 28 Southland high schools and a massive chorus conducted by Los Angeles Master Chorale Music Director Grant Gershon.
These are all schools from the LA area that have strong, vibrant music programs. And that is, of course, for the teachers, a huge challenge. And so the point of this festival is to shine a bright light on these incredible programs that are happening and to feature them here at Disney Hall.
Students from LA's Venice High School and the Ramon Cortinas High School for the Arts were among those participating. As we've regularly reported, the city is committed to opening 50 new parks, and recently community members gathered to accept a large check towards a park in Chinatown. Siobhan Burton has the story.
Los Angeles County Supervisor Gloria Molina was in Chinatown to present Councilman Gil Cedillo with a $950,000 check towards developing a new park in the area. It's all part of the Department of Recreation and Parks 50 Parks Initiative.
Recreation and Parks will be the operator of the park. We'll be working with the Bureau of Engineering on the design, and we'll do the operations and maintenance, and it'll be a park in perpetuity.
The new park will take this uneven slope of unused land at the corner of Ord and Yale and turn it into a park with landscaping, irrigation, stairs, walkways, and fitness equipment. It will also provide a passageway from the outer edge of Chinatown into the heart of the community, adding a safety benefit for all residents, especially children.
We got a bunch of great kids, and we're really excited. I think they're very excited. They're going to, this is going to augment the areas for them to play, to come and, see the community. Particularly very excited how this interfaces with our city library and then with our schools.
And what do kids think about the new park in the neighborhood?
You guys all happy about this park?
Yes! The children were mostly excited that the park would bring a new element of fun to the community. I'm Siobhan Burton for LA This Week.
In this week's list of things to do, a Grunion Run, an LAPD car show, and the LA Wine Fest. On Friday, May 30th, celebrate Southern California's very own Grunion fish by attending the Grunion Fishtival from 7 p.m. to midnight. See the fish that come out of the sea at the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium at 3720 Stephen M. White Drive in San Pedro. In honor of the silver Grunions, wear an aluminum hat and you'll get in for free. Otherwise, admission is $5 for adults and $1 for seniors, students, and children. For details, go to CabrilloMarineAquarium.org. On Saturday, May 31st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., head over to the Warner Center Park at 5800 Topanga Canyon Boulevard in Woodland Hills for LAPD's 11th annual Still Saving Lives car show and safety fair. You'll get to see an LAPD helicopter, the LAPD motorcycle drill team, as well as the SWAT, K9, and bomb squad units. Admission is free. The event is being presented by the LAPD Valley Traffic Division and the Valley Traffic Advisory Council. Go to vtac-vtd.org. And the 9th annual LA Wine Fest is happening Saturday, May 31st and Sunday, June 1st at Hollywood's Raleigh Studios. With hundreds of wines, craft brews, and spirits on offer, the weekend-long festival is a relaxed, welcoming setting for people to explore the world of wine and more, alongside LA food trucks, live bands, and handcrafted goods. Raleigh Studios is located at 5300 Melrose Avenue. For times and ticket information, go to lawinefest.com. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. Phase 1 of a massive golf course rehab is now complete. The city's own Rancho Park Golf Course driving range has gone from dirt to green turf. Anna Marcos takes us there.
The turf is now a rich emerald green. The fencing is state-of-the-art, as are the dividers and other golf amenities. But not long ago, this driving range, owned by the city's Department of Recreation and Parks, was little better than a big dirt field.
The fencing had been kind of a jungle gym of fencing.
It had just a little bit of grass, but the rest of that was clay out there. Nothing but clay, dirt. If the wind came up, the dirt was flying in everybody's faces.
Welcome to the newly renovated Rancho Park Golf Course driving range. A $1.2 million project paid for entirely with golfer fees.
We understand it's actually already bringing in more revenue, and the fact that the city is running our own golf facilities instead of contracting out facilities like this. We're actually bringing in more revenue. We're getting more participation.
Councilmember Paul Koretz helped mark the official grand opening of the new driving range, which has been open for a while now. Koretz even tried his hand at the tee line.
Well, I'm not much of a golfer, but hey, I got lucky and got off a good drive.
Everyone, it seems, has fallen in love with the new driving range, whether they carry teddy bears on their golf clubs or they tee off like old pros or are trying it for the first time.
Golf is a royal sport to me, and I want to learn it.
The adjoining Rancho Park Golf Course has hosted many Los Angeles Opens and PGA tournaments. Now the driving range has also stepped up its game. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Phase 2 of the Rancho Park Golf Course renovation will include improving the restrooms and other nearby buildings. Thousands of students learned a valuable lesson about the impact trash can have on our environment as they hit the sand for a major cleanup. Yana Kay explains.
We found a plastic bag, we found wood, we found bottle caps, plastic, tin foil.
Others even found batteries. And that's only a small sample of what these fourth graders picked up on the beach during the 21st annual Kids Ocean Day cleanup at Dockweiler State Beach in Playa del Rey.
If we didn't pick up trash today, all this will get washed to the water and it will just choke other animals and kill them.
Yeah, that's right. Nearly 4,000 students, teachers, and volunteers scoured the sand looking for trash that may be harmful to the environment and to sea animals.
I found this plate that is like a plastic plate, and I thought that it might scratch them, so that's why I picked it up.
The message of this Ocean Day event is Clean Me Up, and the goal is to show kids the damage littering can cause on our environment and oceans, and the kids seem to be hearing it loud and clear.
There is more awareness of the effects of trash on the street. They're getting that the trash goes down to the ocean. More and more I'm seeing that, yes.
Now, most of these kids are using this cut-out 1-gallon milk bottle. It makes it much easier for them to clean up the trash off the beach.
We believe very strongly that by working together through zero waste, through recycling and reusing, that we can make a better Los Angeles and a cleaner Los Angeles.
Officials hope the kids' strong connection to the ocean will benefit our overall environment. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
More than 8,500 kids participated in Kids Ocean Day across the country. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Emergency, operator 271.
The city of Los Angeles receives over 2 million 911 calls every year. Hello, I'm Mayor Eric Garcetti.
I'm Chief Charlie Beck. A significant number of 911 calls are not emergencies.
911 should be used for emergency calls, such as preservation of life, a crime in progress, prevention of a crime, or a public hazard.
If your call is not an emergency, such as a loud party, verbal dispute, public nuisance, or lost or missing property, you can dial 1-877-ASK-LAPD to have the police respond.
Remember, call 1-877-ASK-LAPD for non-emergency calls.
Los Angeles Police Department, what are you reporting?
Hi, I'm Craig Irwin in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Trenton Irwin, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
Come on up here, guys. Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues. Look behind me at the awards that are being worn here. It is an absolute pleasure this morning to acknowledge some of the Valley's brightest stars, the 7-time academic decathlon national champions at El Camino Real Charter High School.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Now, it's not an illusion. You have seen these students here before, not that long ago, when I had them in council after they won the state championship. And that would have been good enough and was pretty amazing. But in March, El Camino beat out the defeating champions at Granada Hills Charter High School. They became California Academic Decathlon champions. And then last month, El Camino and Granada Hills traveled to Hawaii to represent California at nationals, and they took the number 1 and number 2 spots respectively. The neighboring, pretty amazing, huh? The neighboring San Fernando Valley schools were among 51 teams competing from around the country, as well as the United Kingdom and China, for top honors in the prestigious battle of knowledge, poise, and focus. El Camino Real scored an incredible 52,601 points out of a possible 60,000 points. They boast one of the most successful teams in the history of the academic decathlon. El Camino has captured a record 10 California state titles, and the team has also garnered the LAUSD Regional Championship 11 times. What's more, El Camino boasts 6 national championships, the most of any high school in the nation, and 1 national online championship as well. And it's worth noting that this is the 12th consecutive national title to be awarded to a California school. It's pretty amazing what California can do and what it can produce and what the best minds can make happen. Great teams from the San Fernando Valley and Ventura County have won the national championship 17 times since 1994. Now, all of them are incredibly well decorated. I would venture to say one of the best decorated awardees we're going to have here for quite some time. Look at all these medals. How can you even stand up straight?
Unbelievable.
And I just want to mention the team. We've got 8 seniors and 1 junior. Justin Chow, Melissa Chang, Thasneem Seed.
Raise your hands.
Raise your hand when I call you. And I'm mispronouncing Thasneem. Pronounce your name. Thasneem. Brandon Slater, Eric Yu, Neelim Shaki, Jose Apolaya, Sandra Vadhim, and Rohan Boone. Let's give them all a big round of applause. I am so proud of you guys. San Fernando Valley is so proud of you guys. The city of Los Angeles is so proud of you. The state of California is so proud of you. The nation is proud of you. It is truly amazing, and I want to give you this small token of appreciation on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, signed by every member of the city council and the mayor. So please accept this as a small award next to all of these amazing awards that you have. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You make us proud.
Don't forget the teacher. You can't forget the teacher. In fact, you want to say a few words?
Oh, my heavens, no. Good morning. My name is Stephanie Franklin, and on behalf of El Camino Real High School and these amazing students, our faculty, all the faculties of the middle schools and the elementary schools these kids came from, our families and our communities, we want to thank you for taking the time to recognize academic excellence within our schools. Thank you.
No, thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. And as you guys begin to exit, you follow Mr. Blumenfield to my right. I'd like to call Mr. Fuentes.
All right. Come on, Don. Pretend you're on the field. How's everybody doing this morning?
How are you all doing, City Council?
I'm great.
All right. Good morning, Council colleagues. I'm honored to be here today with the Verdugo Hills High School girls soccer team who recently won the City Division II Championship. You just saw a great presentation by Mr. Blumenfield a little while ago, and you've seen me up here with other high schools in my district as champs. And colleagues, I got to tell you, it's getting expensive because we've got to help fundraise for the rings for all of these champs, but it's a fantastic problem to have, as my mother would say. The Dons were 12-0 in their league this year on the road to their title. The Dons' victory over top-seeded Bravo Medical Magnet clinched the first City Section Division II title game in their program history. This was a hard-fought victory, but Danielle Gelsinger, where's Danielle? There we go. Her penalty kick proved to be the winning score to give the Dons a 2-1 victory, erasing any memory of last year's title game. This season, several players played pivotal roles in the success of the team, and they need to be recognized, including captains, and you raise your hand when I call your name. Captains Amanda Ochoa, Natalie Field.
Give them a round of applause,
Courtney
folks.
Campbell.
Come on.
Beth Blackwell, and Michaela Nickel. This title, members, would not have been possible with the support of the parents, the fantastic coaching staff, and the school administrator. So I'd like to thank a couple of individuals who are here with us today. Verdugo Hills High School Principal Ed Trimis. Where's Ed? There we go. T-Dog. Verdugo Hills High School Athletic Director Tammy Revel. Is Tammy here? All right, could make it. Also, Coach Matt Nichita and assistant coach Mark Woodhouse, who were instrumental in ensuring, give them a big round of applause, making sure that these young ladies were undefeated in league champs and fourth in the Southern California CIF Championship. These young women, colleagues, are an example of hard work, dedication, and nobody can take their championship away with them. We know that they're going to go on to do great things, and I want to congratulate the Dons on being the 2013 City Division II champs. Dons, let them hear it.
Congratulations, Dons.
Go Dons. All right. Thank you.
All right, congratulations.
Come follow me.
Mr. Weezar.
Oh, Mr. Weezar, hold on, ladies. Hold on. Come on back.
Well, I just wanted to congratulate you, and we love the spirit that you bring to these council chambers. Of all the schools we've acknowledged here, and you guys bring out your school spirit, that's great to see. Congratulations again. And Mr. President, if I could also introduce some students who are here from Esteban Torres High School in East Los Angeles, one of the first new schools built in over 80 years in that area. Welcome to the council chambers and enjoy your tour of this great city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weezar. We have a quorum. Mr. Clerk, could we please call the roll?
Very good, sir. Blumenfield, Bonner-Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezar, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay. Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Weezar moves, Cedillo seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Koretz moves, Parks seconds. Okay, let's run through the agenda quickly.
Very good, sir. Mr. President, items 1 and 2 are items noticed for public hearing. We do have cards on both of those matters.
Then let's hold those items.
Very good, sir. Items 3 through 17 are items for which public hearings have been held. A committee report for item 3 has been circulated for council's consideration.
Okay, so let's vote on those items.
Oh, pardon me, sir. There's also been a request to continue item 10 to June 6.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. Let us now vote on these remaining items. Mr. Weezar?
Number 14 special, please.
14 special for Mr. Weezar. Okay, now let's vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
What's next, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 18 and 19. They're items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
So without objection, those items are now before us. I'm assuming they're cards?
Yes, sir, on both.
Okay, and we don't want to go into the special meeting at this time. So let's return to our presentations. So we have extremely huge presentation for today, and I'd like to ask that Mr. Bonin, Mr. O'Farrell, and our great mayor enter the council chambers. Okay. If somebody would open the door and let them, invite them in. It's my understanding that they did not hear the request that they entered. So do I have sergeants or the staff?
They being notified?
I'm looking for the reps from Mr. O'Farrell or Bonin's district. Mr. Mayor, I want to welcome you, home to your your old stomping grounds. It's a pleasure to see Bill Rosendahl, our colleague. Great.
It's all right. You had basketball players on your mind, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President. It's always wonderful to come back to Chambers, and thank you, members, for receiving all of us here today. And I want to start by thanking you, Mr. Council President Herb Wesson, our Controller Ron Galpern, who's joined us as well, and City Attorney Mike Feuer, who I know is going to be here if he's not here already, and of course Council Members Bonin and O'Farrell. and all my colleagues here on the City Council for hosting this incredible celebration of our city's proud LGBT community. Absolutely. Harvey Milk once said that all young people, regardless of sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment in which to achieve their full potential. And that's what our LA is about. This is the most welcoming, diverse city that's ever been put on one place on this globe in the history of humanity. It is what we celebrate here today. The spirit of Los Angeles is a spirit that celebrates that diversity. We're stronger for it, we know it, we cherish it, and we welcome all who wish to be who they are. Folks come here because they know Los Angeles is the most creative spot on the face of the earth. But oftentimes they come here because they're fleeing things like war and discrimination, the lack of economic opportunities, and they come here where they know they won't be judged by the color of their skin, the language they speak, the country of their origin, whom they love, what they wear, who they are. And our young people need heroes. The only thing that matters in LA are the dreams that you have in your heart, your gut's willingness to work hard to obtain it, and the mind that sets yourself to that goal and marches towards it. Our young people need heroes to pave the way. That is what Harvey Milk did in politics, and that's what Jason Collins is doing in professional sports. So let's hear it for Jason, who became the first publicly out athlete within the 4 major pro sports leagues. He is an LA native. We went to the same high school, so I'm very proud of that. And he is such an inspiration for LGBT youth across the nation, and his openness is helping shape the values of millions of Americans across the nation. And to all of our honorees, it's great to have June Lagme, for instance, back here, who served us so well as our city clerk, and Rabbi Denise Egger and Rabbi Lisa Edwards, who both set the bar and who have inspired us not just in terms of social justice, but spiritually as well. Minion Moore, who I went to college with, and her spouse, Elaine Harley, who's here. Carlos Sosa, who continues to get the word out on those things that we need to know throughout the city. During June, I've asked this coming month that City Hall will be bathed in lavender light, a beacon that declares that this city is a city of light for anyone, regardless of race, religion, creed, or orientation. And now, it is a great honor to introduce our next speaker, another trailblazer who was elected as our city's first LGBT citywide elected official, at least openly, who knows in the past, and the first neighborhood council leader to be elected citywide, our incredible controller, a man who's a little shy, so welcome him, Ron Galpern.
Yeah, Ron's a little shy, okay? Good to see you, Mr. Controller.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mayor Garcetti. Thank you to our council president, to council members Mike Bonin, Mitch O'Farrell. I also understand that our city attorney is going to be here, and to all the members of the city council for inviting us to be here today to celebrate LGBT heritage in LA. You know, it's less than a year ago that I had the honor of being inaugurated as controller of the city of Los Angeles. I remember that day so very well, and we were actually lining up as we were about to walk down the stairs, and I had never really given much thought to what that process was going to be like. So there we were lined up, and I saw the council members, and each of them started to take each other's hands, including the 2 council members who are to my left and to my right, along with their respective spouses. And there I was with my husband, Zach, and we hadn't really thought about what we were going to do. And we kind of looked at each other, we had stuff in our hands, and we fumbled for a moment, and then we took each other's hands, and then we walked down to the podium where I was about to be inaugurated. It felt like one of these most natural kinds of things to do, and I hadn't given it much thought, and yet it ended up having such a profound impact, I have to say, on my life. And then I spoke to people all over the city who saw 3 sets of couples walk down that were same gender, hand in hand, in the city of LA to get inaugurated. And what an amazing moment that was, and what that says about the city of Los Angeles and about this incredible diversity that we celebrate here today. And we're going to celebrate that in our honorees as well. So I want to introduce a man who is not only carrying on Harvey's legacy, Harvey Milk that is, who was referenced by the mayor, but also is serving proudly and openly, who knows firsthand that change happens block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood. This is true for both of the council members who are here. And I'm going to begin by introducing Councilmember Mike Bonin, a friend and just a great leader for our city. Thank you.
No tie, Bonin?
No tie, believe it or not. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning, everybody who's here today. We have come a long way, baby. The change has been rapid and phenomenal. Just over 10 years ago, marriage was legal for same-sex couples nowhere in the United States. And today, I literally need a scorecard to figure out what the latest state is where the walls of discrimination are tumbling. There literally is not enough time to thank everyone who helped build the movement that got us to where we are today. But I want to thank a few. I want to thank every single grassroots activist who took to the street. I want to say thank you to every single person who was living paycheck to paycheck but made a donation to the cause anyway. I want to say thank you to every straight ally who said no more to inequality. I want to say thank you to every single person, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender, who found their courage, burst open a closet door, and told their story to friends and loved ones. I want to thank every person who listened to their heart and fought for their love and made equality happen. It is you who forced our spring. And I want to thank all of those who realize that the struggle isn't over and those who continue to fight for it, who remember that we need to stand up and fight against bullying and against hate crimes. We need to stand up for an employment discrimination bill at the federal level that is actually real and actually protects our community. Right. We need to stand up for transgender equality and realize that there is a T in LGBT. And we need to not stay silent, and we need to stand up for the civil rights and the lives of our sisters and brothers in other countries who are being tortured, imprisoned, and even killed for simply being who they are. And we need to thank those who remember, and there are many here, that the fight for social justice is more than just the LGBT community. That none of us are free unless all of us are free, and that our community, with as many victories and rewards as we have had, need to join the fight for everybody's equality. You know, the mayor just pointed out to me, I don't get to be a groundbreaker. There have been gay and lesbian council members before me. I'm not even the first from the 11th district. Bill Rosendahl is here, by the way. I don't even get to be the only gay guy on the city council. Because I am so lucky and so privileged to serve with a guy who was elected at the same time, who is as pure of heart and as concerned about his community as anybody I know. I'm proud to call Mitch not just a colleague, but a dear, dear friend. All right.
Mitch O'Farrell, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mitchell?
Mike, right back at you on every level. Thank you so much. See, now you made me tear up a little bit. Darn it, I didn't want this to happen. Okay, so I want to thank our friend in the state legislature, Assemblymember Jimmy Gomez, who is standing to our
Give
right.
Jimmy a round of applause.
He's here with us. I know that the LA Gay and Lesbian Center, they're on the AIDS ride. So Lori Jean sends her regards. The whole organization is with us in spirit today. I understand we have LAD School Board member Bennett Kaiser, another ally in this great movement. Yes. We have representatives from House Speaker Tony Atkins' office here, an open lesbian first House Speaker in the State Assembly. We also have a representative from Adam Schiff, Congressman Adam Schiff's office, and a representative from Assemblymember Richard Bloom here in the House today. Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues. Let me just tell you, it is great to be gay in L.A. Before I make my remarks, I want to thank the organizing committee, especially members of my staff, and it was a daunting task to organize this day. And I want to especially thank co-chair Tony Aranaga, my communications director. Tony's here. Also on the team of about 15 people on my staff includes William Ayala, Gigi Galias, David Hiron, and Dan Halden. It is such a great honor to represent the 13th District in the city of Los Angeles, and I'm going to give LA just a quick little history lesson here because it was where it all began. 1950, the LGBT organization that started the liberation movement in the United States formed in the living room of a Silver Lake resident, Harry Hay. It was called the Mattachine Society. 1966, 1967, the Black Cat protests in Silver Lake were organized after two men had the audacity to kiss in the bar on New Year's. This protest preceded the Stonewall riots in New York by 2.5 years. 1970, the first Los Angeles area gay and lesbian parade happens on Hollywood Boulevard between Highland and Vine. 1979, a Different Light bookstore opens in Silver Lake, the first Different Light and the first bookstore of its kind to cater to the LGBT community. 1993, Jackie Goldberg is elected to the district, the first lesbians to serve on the Los Angeles City Council. And last year, I had the great honor of being the first gay man elected to this seat. So we stand here today honoring our present-day pioneers in this movement. Jason Collins, the first major league athlete to come out as gay during his career. By being out, proud, and secure in who you are, you have helped make it okay for other professional major league athletes in the traditionally macho environment to be more accepting while paving the way for other LGBT athletes to come out. Your stated goal is to empower others. Empower others you have by the millions across the United States. Jason, thank you. Mignon Moore and Elaine Harley, by living as a visible example as a loving couple and mentoring other LGBT families across the demographic spectrum and bringing the plight of LGBT seniors into light, you are transcending all antiquated and destructive notions still held by mainstream America of what it means to be lesbian, gay, or transgendered. Congratulations. June Lagme, what can we say? By always living as who you are as a public service professional, then as general manager of a Los Angeles City Department, for countless city workers and Angelinos everywhere, you daylighted the futility of fear, ignorance, and bias against our community. Congratulations, June.
Go, June.
Rabbis Lisa Edwards, Rabbi Denise Egger, by virtue of your devotion to spiritual life for 20 years and longer, you have shattered any false concepts that, like all human beings, we are spiritual in nature, and we will assert our place in all faiths across this great nation, breaking down any barriers that diminish who we are spiritually, socially, or professionally. Congratulations, rabbis. Carlos Sosa, my friend, you have been a champion of our LGBT youth since your own youth. The group you founded in 2005, City x1 Youth Group, has given hope to thousands of young men, women, and our transgendered youth between 14, from as young as age 14, many of them homeless. These are oftentimes, and tragically, young people that have been discarded by their families, by society. By organizing social gatherings in a safe, supportive environment, these young people realize they matter. They have value, and that we want them to have a fulfilling life with all the opportunities that everyone else has. Carlos, you have always operated below the radar. That is integrity, helping to save society while no one else is looking. I am taken by your profound connection to your mission and your laser focus to help arguably the most disadvantaged population in the entire LGBT community. It's a great honor to be standing amongst everyone here, our mayor, our city controller, and our city attorney. Thank you so much, and congratulations, honorees. And now our city attorney, Mr. Mike Fewer.
Thank you, Mitch.
You got it.
Thanks, Mitch. You know, when one wonders what is most significant about events like today, I think what's most significant is what it teaches our kids here in Los Angeles. Because it says to kids that your sexual orientation need never be a barrier to achievement. You ought to feel good about who you are. Stand up for what you believe in. And recognize, as Mitch said a moment ago, the tremendous value you have. This recognition conveys that very strongly to our kids. You know, this city council has played a significant leadership role on the issues we celebrate today, not just today or yesterday, but for decades. Remember back in the 1990s, members of this council stood up for marriage equality when it was far from a popular thing to do. Stood up not only against hate crime, but also in moments that were controversial, to say, for example, that no organization, including the Boy Scouts, should marginalize a parent or a child because of their sexual orientation. This You know, we think about civil rights. What is at the core of what we mean when we talk about civil rights? Today, it's the right to marry whom you choose. It's the right to be free from bullying on a playground or on the way to school. It's the right to have any job for which you are qualified. Your sexual orientation has nothing to do with whether you are qualified. It is for all of us, I think, a recognition that as a society, we measure ourselves by the dignity and humanity we express through our laws and through our deeds every day. This is a celebration that matters to every resident of the city of Los Angeles. And I want to congratulate each of our honorees for being the trailblazers you are, and the colleagues in elective office with whom I'm standing today, many of whom have broken barrier after barrier to be able to say to everybody in Los Angeles, every one of us has the potential to rise and lead and succeed. Thanks very much.
And now on to our wonderful honorees. I'd also like to, by the way, recognize our Assistant Chief of Police from LAPD, McCarthy, and let's give her a round of applause.
And Chief Featherstone.
And Chief Featherstone as well, who is here. Fire Chief. I'm very pleased to introduce two of our honorees, Rabbi Lisa Edwards and Rabbi Denise Egger. Now, as many of you know, my own husband is a rabbi, so I know that they will forgive me when I say that they're my second favorite rabbis. Now, my husband Zach often says that the job of a rabbi is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comforted. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I've known these two rabbis for somewhere around 20 years now. They're incredible role models, they're heroes, they're dear friends, and they do an incredible job of comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comforted as well. Comforting individuals and families in need of counsel and help, comforting members of the LGBT community who may have been less than fully welcomed everywhere else, providing sanctuary literally and figuratively, serving as teachers and leaders with love and tenderness and caring, celebrating life's milestones with couples and families of all sorts, weddings and births, anniversaries. And also, I've seen them afflicting the comforted, standing up for social justice in the face of discrimination, prodding people along, working to repair the world, telling the truth even when it's not popular, serving as teachers and leaders again, but with strength and tenacity and with great purpose, and getting more comfortable folks in their congregations to give up some of what they have for those in need. It's all about comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comforted. So let me begin with Rabbi Lisa Edwards.
We got to give Rabbi a round of applause.
Rabbi Edwards has been a Jewish lesbian activist from the pulpit, on the page as an author, on the web, in the classroom, and in the streets of LA for more than 2 decades. She is in her 20th year as rabbi of Los Angeles congregation Bet Chaim Chadashim. She started at age 5. Bet Chaim Chadashim means house of new life. And it was the first synagogue in the world founded exclusively for gays and lesbians, and now, of course, bisexual, transgender, straight, everybody. It's progressive, it's diverse, it celebrates Jewish life, but it also celebrates the life of Los Angeles and of every faith. Rabbi Edwards was ordained at Hebrew Union College and also holds a PhD in literature, which may account for the references as diverse as Shakespeare and modern poetry, not to mention New Yorker cartoons that enrich her sermons. She has seen the harm done to LGBT individuals when discrimination is preached by religious authorities and practiced by families in communities of faith. And she has worked and succeeded greatly in counteracting that damage. From the AIDS crisis to marriage equality to protecting the environment to highlighting sacred texts, Rabbi Edwards is a sought-after speaker, teacher, writer, clergy person, and an amazing advocate and friend. Most of all, she is somebody who understands the struggles of her congregation and speaks to the hearts of not only the members of her congregation, but of everybody here in Los Angeles. I am so proud to be honoring my friend, Rabbi Lisa Edwards. Wow.
Wow. I need a new wall.
We also have one of these beautiful handy-dandy certificates.
Honored to be sharing this with my teacher, Rabbi Denise Eger. 42 years ago next month, a handful of gay and lesbian Jews in Los Angeles held their first Sabbath service together and began laying the groundwork for a congregation that, in the language of the time, referred to itself as the homophile Jewish community. 42 years ago in Los Angeles and in the Jewish world, there was good reason to form such a congregation. Then and still now in too many places in the world, queer is not used in the cheerful way it is used in this room today. Los Angeles and Judaism each have had more than their share of laws and customs that permitted discrimination of all sorts, including violence against people who look different or love differently or live in what some call the shadows. I doubt the founders of Beit Chaim Chadashim, House of New Life, our congregation, ever imagined that 42 years after they started it, that BCC would be a thriving congregation of families and individuals of all ages, sexual orientations, gender identities, that BCC would be have a beautiful new building in the city of Los Angeles, and a commitment to city and to community that keeps BCC woven into the fabric of Los Angeles and of the queer community and of the Jewish people. I am here with you today because those founders dreamed and invited everyone who has come along since to live their own dreams. The result, barriers are erased while diversity is embraced. If you doubt that, think about where we all are right now, right here, and the reason we are all here. I don't mean to suggest the work is over, all goals and hopes and dreams achieved, far from it. But I am grateful to live in this time and in this place, and to be given the opportunity to be a teacher and an encourager, to nurture courage within the hearts of people, to own our Judaism, to study it, to live Jewish lives, to be dreamers and activists, to use our tradition and our teachings for their intended purpose, to inspire us to work in partnership with God and with each other, to make our shared world a place worth sharing. I'm so honored to be in this good company today. Thank you all.
Got to get the right piece of paper here. Rabbi Denise Egger was raised in Memphis, Tennessee, graduated with honors from the University of Southern California with a bachelor's degree in religion, received her master's from Hebrew Union College, and was ordained as a rabbi in 1988. And she received her Doctor of Divinity honoris causa in 2013 from HUC. Rabbi Egger also has served Congregation Beit Chaim Chadashim for 4 years before she became the founding rabbi of Congregation Kol Ami, which is West Hollywood's Reform congregation. And she has served the LGBT and all the community of Los Angeles for more than 25 years. In 2013, Rabbi Egger was nominated President-elect of the Central Conference of American Rabbis, which is the largest organization of rabbis, more than 2,000 Reform rabbis worldwide. That's a big deal. In March of 2015, she will become president of that organization and the first openly gay and lesbian person ever to hold that position. Amen. She is also past president of the Southern California Board of Rabbis, and when she became president, she was the first, again, woman and the first openly gay person ever to do so. Amen to that. A real trailblazer. She was also the founding president of the Lesbian, Gay, and Bisexual Interfaith Clergy Association, served on the boards of the No on Night campaign, the No on Prop 22 campaign, and the Equality for All No on Prop 8. I'm looking forward to the day when we have yes on something, but we are moving forward. Rabbi Egger has written many articles that have appeared in magazines, newspapers across the country, as well as appeared on numerous radio and TV programs. She's a noted speaker on the topics of human sexuality, GLBT issues, AIDS, changing families, spiritual health issues, Judaism and politics, progressive Judaism, the radical right. I could go on. She's also a fabulous mom, and I know that firsthand. So please join me in congratulating Rabbi Denise Egger, a wonderful friend, a great leader, a role model, and a hero. Amen. Wow.
Thank you all for this wonderful honor and for being recognized for LGBT Heritage Month. Mayor Garcetti, Controller Galperin, and honored city council members, elected officials, and city staff and community members. The book of Psalms teaches us that the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. And also it teaches, this is the day the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be happy in it. With joy and gratitude, I thank you for this tremendous honor from our beloved city. For more than 25 years now, I have served the LGBTQ Jewish community, and I've been blessed to serve and entrusted to lead. During the last quarter century, I've been so fortunate to minister with those with AIDS and HIV, to educate the members of our government, and in those early years, to protest when our government failed to act, and to comfort the sick, the dying, their loved ones, and survivors. I've had the privilege to work with transgender people, gay men, lesbian, bisexuals, and straight allies, people of every race, creed, and nationality, and people of no faith at all, to be part of change and history as we help win the LGBT equality in our city first, with domestic partnership rights so long ago and adoption rights, for housing and job rights, which we pray soon will be extended to everyone federally, and now with marriage equality. I've been witness to and a participant in extraordinary change and joined with so many of you to make it an incredible city. I've worked to make Judaism an inclusive and welcoming religious tradition and have been involved in every corner of the Jewish world with discussing and teaching and urging acceptance and tolerance. And I've had the privilege of working with many interfaith leaders here in our city. So thank you. Thank you to the members of my congregation, Kol Ami, to my partner, Rabbi Eleanor Steinman, to my incredible son, Ben, who's away at college at Sonoma State, go Seawolves, for supporting me as I work to lift up our city and our community with pride and with hope. There's still so much to do together. I look forward to joining with all of you towards a day when all the many diverse people of our city of Los Angeles can link arms and lift up all those who are impoverished, all those who've come to seek a better life in Los Angeles, and all those who live in the shadows without proper papers. When we as a city can create educational opportunities for all of our children of this city, this is the true test of equality and pride. When gay and trans and queer people everywhere will join with our neighbors to dream and to build up the city of Los Angeles, the city of angels. That is what I think gay pride should be, holding our heads high and helping others to do the same. The late Maya Angelou wrote these words, "Whoever you are, wherever you are, start there. When we know better, we do better." There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. You alone are enough. Once, not so long ago, we were unable to tell our stories as LGBTQ people. We were the rejected stone. But now I rejoice and thank you. With all of you, we can do better. And let us start together today. Shalom.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. Just beautiful.
Thank you so much. Well done. June? So, colleagues, we're very lucky. We have a lot of LGBT leadership within our city family. We've got Steve Simon from the Department of Disability. We've got Brenda Barnett at Animal Services. We've got John Szabo at our library department. We've got Kevin James and Matt Szabo on the Board of Public Works. But we lost one of our leading LGBT members of the city family when June Lagmay retired. We're honoring June here today, and I wanted to say I have the privilege of introducing to you someone that you know, but I actually think I have the privilege of introducing to you someone that you don't really know. There's a lot about June I didn't know. I knew her as the incredibly efficient and professional aide to several mayors. I knew her as our incredible city clerk. And I knew her as a bit of a den mother to the LGBT family here in the city of Los Angeles. What I didn't know is how much of a long-term, lifelong pioneer for the LGBT community June Lagmay has been. That she was out back at UCLA in the 1970s, where she first began to encounter discrimination as a lesbian. And as I understand it from watching some of her history on video, she actually enjoyed that fight a bit. And that began a trend of picking some fights. But she was also one of the founding co-chairs of, what was the name of the organization? Asian Pacific Lesbians and Gays, APLJ.
The first
which was the first Asian American LGBT organization. We all remember and celebrate the iconic figure that is Harvey Milk in San Francisco. But at the same time Harvey was running, there was a guy running for city council here, Don Amador. And his right-hand person was June Lagme, blazing trails at a time when it was unpopular, when it was unsafe, and it was uncool like it is today to be LGBT. What we may know about June is that she is blessed to have a wonderful partner, Rita.
Yes.
What we may not know is that they have been together 45 years.
Oh, wow.
They met and fell in love in high school. And they likened their romance, at least June did in a clip I saw, to the couple in Greece. June was the good girl, always getting A's, where Rita had a bit more of an edge. But this was during the Flower Power decade, and it wasn't uncommon for girls in Catholic schools to walk around hand in hand. But they were trailblazers, and they married legally in 2008, finally getting the validation from the state that they'd had in their hearts and in their union and from their family and from their friends for so long. But I think the thing that is most remarkable about June is the way she goes about living her life and practicing her politics. Those of you who aren't LGBT may not have a sufficient appreciation of just how nasty our internal politics can be. They can be bitter, they can be divisive, they can get personal. June has always done things differently. In a clip that was made to honor her recently, she talked about she encourages the next generation to be true to themselves, but also to be nice. And what June has always done is something we all need to do more of, which is practice the politics of nurture and the politics of niceness and the politics of humility. In the long arc of seasons that is our fight for equality, we'd all be better off if it was always the month of June.
Mayor Garcetti, City Attorney Feuer, City Controller Galperin, honorable members of the City Council, please accept my profound thanks for inviting me back home to this chamber for this very humbling and loving recognition. I look around and I see old friends and new friends around the horseshoe. It feels so good. Congratulations to Jason, Carlos, Rabbi Edwards, Rabbi Ager, Mignon and Elaine, warriors all of extraordinary courage for their outstanding activism and accomplishment. Also, I just found out today there is a newly formed LGBT City Attorneys Association here at City Hall. What a wonderful gift that is to have found that out. And while I'm here, a shout out to my peeps in the City Clerk's office, who are, of course, the greatest department in the world. Sorry. I was knocked for a loop when I was told about this honor, especially at this stage of my life where I am slowing down and entering a more private, reflective stage of my life. It is as though you are honoring me for the privilege of having lived a full and interesting life. I have been so lucky. I think back through the decades to when I was a young woman in my 20s, the seismic, life-changing history I was lucky to have witnessed firsthand, and the amazing generations of gay and lesbian leadership I was lucky to know and work with. From back in the day while I was at UCLA, when the field of sociology confidently listed gays and lesbians in the scientific category of deviant behavior, when worshiping with the gay Catholic group Dignity meant meeting in secret in hidden mortuaries, witnessing firsthand the desperate unfolding of the AIDS crisis, the demonstrations against mainstream TV, radio, and movies for disparaging reflections of our community, but who have today evolved to be our supporters. And the beautiful, passionate activists I was privileged to meet, to work with Harvey Milk during the time of his climb to San Francisco supervisor, the great Morris Kite, whom I will always consider the grandfather of the modern LA gay movement, and to be enfolded by him and to have the privilege of eating at his table. Giants like the Reverend Troy Perry, Ivy Bettini, Jean Cordova, Jackie Goldberg, and many others who were the vanguards of the LGBT's era of most intense growth. As my dear friend Paul Chen likes to put it, back in the late 70s when he and I and others were involved in forming an organization to support Asian Pacific lesbians and gays in Los Angeles, probably we were too young to know any better. Maybe we were too naive to know we couldn't do it. And so I have lived to the astonishing day when marriage equality has become a reality and when the legislative leadership of the city now enjoys an overflow of representation from our community, an embarrassment of riches. So like a proud auntie, I am so proud of all of you, the new generation of LGBT leadership at the helm, and you know who you are. I wish you joy, blessings, and courage to be audacious and continue the good fight against homophobia, racism, sexism, and the worst sin of all, apathy. With my partner of 45 years, Rita Romero, and you know you got to stand up now. Stop taking pictures. Stand up. She has fought by my side with great bravery and great humor during the tumultuous landscape of our community's journey. From the bottom of my heart, thank you again. Thank you, Mike. I'll never forget that. Thank you.
Come on up. Bring on, Elaine. Now, colleagues, together. Well, I'll stand over here. You guys stand together. You've been together, and that's who you are. Colleagues, I'm very glad today to honor Mignon Moore and Elaine Harley or Hartley? Harley. Good, I got it right. Who I had the opportunity to meet just recently, about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I was determined to honor them here today because they represent something that is part of the fundamental change of the LGBT movement over the past several decades. We have, over the past decade, won the right to serve in the military, and we have, over the past decade, won the right in many places to get married. We have now begun to be a community that builds family. It isn't easy for us to build family the same way it is for heterosexual couples. It takes a little more effort, a little more intention, a little more planning. And Mignon and Elaine are a couple who have brought incredible intention into building a family and in sharing the love that they share with children. As far as I understand, their whole life is about family. They actually met at a family wedding, right?
Yes.
In 2002. And before they considered raising a child, they decided to create another type of family first, a family of choice, by creating community networks for women of color, first in New York and then in California. When they lived in New York, they formed an organization called Persuasion, which was a social network for women of color of every persuasion. Once they moved west, they established Chocolate and Wine Upscale Events for Women, which is a large and growing social group for lesbian, bisexual, and same-gender-loving women. And the communities they created there have helped forge a network of friendships and family across the nation. But that wasn't enough for them. They wanted to create a family and have children, as so many of my sisters and brothers do. They'd already been involved in raising Elaine's son, but when he got to college, they decided that they wanted to have babies. They wanted to raise children of their own. After Mignon tried several assisted technologies for reproduction, they decided that they would go the adoption route. And they hooked up with an organization here in California called SCFA, the Southern California Foster Family and Adoption Agency. And they went through the process of training and certifying to become foster adopt parents. They had a baby placed with them, and the baby was returned to their birth parents, which was a wrenching experience for them. But they decided to stick with the process. And now I'm delighted to say that they are the parents of two beautiful, lovely children. Baby Joy, who is 14 months, started walking just a couple days ago. Congratulations. And Baby Joy's biological brother, Ryan, who's now about 5 months? 5 months old. They joined the family back as infants, as newborns. And both of them were premature at the time. And the effort and the love and the intention and the heart that these two strong, beautiful, incredible women have brought to build that family is inspiring and is representative of the families that are springing up all around this state and all around this country as our unions are finally legalized and we can finally raise legally families of our own. Mignon teaches at UCLA, where she is a noted scholar on LGBT issues. She also serves on RaiseAChild.US's Honorary Advisory Council, where she helps make a difference for people who are going through the foster process. They have discovered through their social networks that incredibly high numbers of African American and Latino LGBT parents go through the foster to adopt process. And they have been and will continue to be the role models for so many of those families. It was a joy to meet you. You're personally inspiring to me, and I am so glad to honor you here today on behalf of the City Council and the City of Los Angeles.
Elaine and I are very happy to be here. We thank you very much for having us, City Council. We have been proud to represent marriage equality through the Freedom to Marry organization. We were married 3 times as different states legalized same-sex marriage. We are here to support LGBT people and same-sex couples who are raising children together. We're also here to represent those who are having children through the foster adoption process. Los Angeles County has the largest number of foster children in the country, so there are many children waiting for loving homes, and we feel blessed to have welcomed Joy and Ryan into our homes. We are happy to have presented outreach to the Los Angeles women's community. We feel that there's a need for greater visibility of African American and Latina and Asian Pacific Island and Filipino and women of color who are lesbian and gay, and for our friends, transgender women and men. And we represent those organizations and those people. And we are here to help bring social justice to our communities. And we'd like to thank Raise a Child US and the Williams Institute and Freedom to Marry and the Southern California Foster Family and Adoption Agency, all of those organizations in Los Angeles working to build community for our families. And we're honored to be here. We've been married for 2 years and together for 12 years. And Los Angeles has been our home for 8 years. And we thank you, and we want to continue to make our communities visible.
Thank you, colleagues. I just want to say that for everyone in this chamber, every city council member is on board with full equality. It's something that we all believe in lockstep firmly. But I just got to highlight one of our colleagues, and that is Mr. Paul Koretz. Paul Koretz, please join us. Please join us, Paul. Someone who has been at the forefront of the movement since the early 1980s when he helped found the city of West Hollywood. With his time on the city of West Hollywood City Council, his time in the State Assembly, and now his time on the Los Angeles City Council, Paul has been one of those quiet trailblazers in the LGBT movement, and we thank you, Paul, and we would like for you to stand here with us in solidarity in a place of honor that you deserve. And I neglected to mention a member of my staff, and that's Harut Samerjian, who is also on the organizing committee, but his name didn't make it into the program. Harut, thank you. The next honoree, I already talked about a little bit, so I'm going to be very brief, but I'm just going to say that Carlos Sosa is someone who has never believed that anyone, no matter what your age, no matter what your gender, no matter what your sexuality, should ever have to live life at the margins. Carlos founded City Times One, a nonprofit that serves our LGBT youth 9 years ago. And as I mentioned earlier, on the down low, without seeking any attention whatsoever, he has really helped save probably into the hundreds, if not thousands, of our most vulnerable youth with the organization that he is executive director of and that he serves. So without further ado, our friend Carlos Sosa.
Thank you. I really want to take this moment, and this is a beautiful moment. I've looked at this building from every corner of Los Angeles all the time, and to be here and be getting an award, I just want to look at everybody just real quickly. And as I do, please stand up and applause, not just for me, but for all the honorees and the upcoming 30 days of Gay Pride Month, because I got to take this moment in. I got to see everybody from this angle over here. Great, thank you. Thank you to Councilmember O'Farrell, to the mayor, for anybody who had anything to do with this, to know that we're having LGBT Heritage Month is something great. It's something that we can all take pride in with our own community, with allies, and moving forward with the city in terms of reaching out to people and all of that about all the wonderful services and events that we have coming up for Gay Pride Month. Back in 2005, we founded City X1 because we looked at the landscape of all the services that were out there. A lot of great services, a lot of great organizations, a lot of good stuff going on, but it just wasn't working for us. Nothing against anybody out there that was already doing their thing, but we just wanted to do it a little bit different, with a little bit more style, with a little bit more sizzle. And next year will be our 10-year anniversary, and you could find out information about it at cityx1.com. And what we do, what we were finding out and reaching out to LGBTQ youth, is that a lot of the kids that were coming to our events were homeless. And these are great, wonderful, amazing kids that took the courage to come out to their parents and say that they're gay, they're bisexual, they're transgender, and they were told to get out of the house that same day, that same moment. A lot of them with no resources, with no cash. It's like, get out of the house right now, I'm ashamed of you, or whatever. And in some cases, we've been able to bring the kids back together with their families. In some cases, the community, everybody that you see behind, we are their extended family. We are the family of these kids, to let them know that you may not have an uncle or a parent or a dad or a mom that's supporting you in it, but all these people behind me do. And we are your community, and we are your extended family. Great, amazing kids that come from all of your districts, from all parts of Los Angeles. A lot of them come down from other counties as well, and we're glad to continue servicing them. And we will have our next event coming up on June the 29th. You could see what we do. cityx1.com. That's CITY, the letter X and the number 1.com. Check us out on Facebook as well. And I would like to close by dedicating this award to Gail Roth and Virginia Uribe and Nadia Sutton as well. I'm sure you guys know who they are. They're very popular, very well known in the community. These three ladies have really taken me under their wing. I've sat on their learning tree the last couple of years, and they've put up with me a lot. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for their love, their support, their attention, and times when, as Councilman Metro Farrell said, we're under the radar. We're grassroots. We're not really operating with any grants or anything like that. So it's really through our community who has brought sodas to our event or donated food or anything like that. And there's been times when I said, you know, it's too much. I'm getting tired. And these three wonderful ladies have lifted me and given me their support and their love, their attention, their resources. So I dedicate this honor to them. Thank you.
Our next honoree doesn't necessarily need an introduction, but I'm going to introduce him. A trailblazer in every way, but not to be mistaken with a Portland trailblazer. He has single-handedly founded NBA Gay. It gives me such pleasure to introduce our next honoree who just changed everything in professional sports, Major League sports. While being an active player with the Brooklyn Nets, go Nets, he has come out of the closet and changed everything, the whole entire system, and made it easier for anyone who is gay in any Major League sports or lesbian to come out. And it's also made it easier for his teammates and teammates in Major League sports across the entire system and spectrum to openly embrace their LGBT friends and family. Without further ado, the very impressive and amazing Jason Collins. And his parents are here too. Make sure and introduce them.
All right, Mom and Dad, you got called out. You got to stand up if you can't. Well, I want to say thank you to the City of Los Angeles for everyone who had anything to do with this great day. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Very blessed to be here and honored to be receiving this honor from the City of Los Angeles with so many great trailblazers. So many eloquent words that were spoken here this morning. And I just want to add, I'm just inspired to be in such great company. I hope that my actions will make it easier for the next person to come out. I realize that the road was paved before me by my idol, Martina Navratilova, Billie Jean King. The list goes on and on to even recently Brittany Griner in the WNBA, and Robbie Rogers, another athlete here in Los Angeles for the Los Angeles Galaxy. And more athletes over time will come out during their playing career. And I'm really looking forward to the future when it isn't a big deal, but we're not there yet. We're working, there are so many people who are working hard to improve the LGBT rights, equality, And I'm honored to be a part of the conversation and to continue that conversation. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be short and sweet because I have to get on the golf course and practice my golf swing because tomorrow I'm playing in the LAPD Memorial Fund charity golf event at Brookside Golf Club. My brother will be there too, and he's the golfer. So please don't arrest me for having an ugly golf swing. But thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mitchell and Mike and Ron, you have several colleagues that would like to say a few words. And I, too, want to congratulate all of the honorees that are here today. And is June still here? June, you look gorgeous, and welcome home. So good to see you again. And Mr. Koretz, you are the first person on the queue, but I have a question for you. What speaker of the California State Assembly started the LGBT caucus and funded it? Do you know what speaker that might have been?
I'm going to guess, not that it's a guess, I know, it's Mr. Herb Wesson.
Yes, it was. I did that. Mr. Koretz, the floor is yours.
Well, I congratulate all of our wonderful honorees, and it's remarkable for me because I've been involved in this issue for almost 45 years, and I started being involved by not being involved. I saw some friends who were badly mistreated by their high school classmates, and I didn't really know what to do about it, and there were no role models either for LGBT folks or for people that wanted to support them. Then in my senior year, a fellow named Morris Kite, who's been mentioned before, came and spoke to one of my classes. And I got to realize that there were gay men that were living good lives and were actively supporting the cause of being able to be openly gay and to be treated better and without discrimination. And so I started to get involved. I joined the Stonewall Democratic Club when it was founded. I didn't really notice at the time, but I was the first straight man to join. And there weren't a whole lot of them back then that were willing to be associated with this particular issue. There were a lot of ups and downs I've seen over the years. I got to participate in some of the ups, mostly ups. Only 30 years ago, there had never been an open lesbian that was mayor of an American city. And I had the honor and opportunity to run the campaign for Valerie Torino when the city of West Hollywood was founded almost 30 years ago, and she became the first open lesbian to be the mayor of an American city. And she also was the third of 5 gay and lesbian members out of 5, and so West Hollywood became the first majority gay council in the history of the United States. We had some downs too, like Prop 22. I was elected to the state assembly, ironically, because of Prop 22, because it created a huge turnout in the city of West Hollywood, and that actually helped my election, which is not the way I wanted to get elected. I was very distressed by that. One of the first things I did was I introduced a civil union bill in 2001 right after that. People thought I was crazy. It was way too far a stretch, and it did go down in flames almost instantly. But amazingly, a couple of years later, Gavin Newsom was marrying people in San Francisco, and Mark Leno and his co-authors, including myself, got a marriage bill passed in the state of California and it's now not far from becoming the law of the land in every state in the country. I can see that happening. So the progress has been amazing. There really, I think, are still only a couple areas that we still have a lot of progress to make. One is on transgender rights. And I had the opportunity to carry a bill at the end of my assembly career about 8 years ago that banned discrimination in health care against people who were transgender. And 8 years later, I just went up to Sacramento a couple days ago and found that just now they are finally going to implement that law. But even though it had passed, it took 8 years to get it implemented. But we are now going to finally protect transgender folks in health care. The other place I thought I would honestly never see us make progress was in professional male sports. And I am so amazed at what we've seen happen recently, and particularly if Jason is still here, to say how amazingly courageous that is. I can't imagine too many things tougher and more difficult, but I think that is the last bastion of discrimination, and I believe soon that will be gone as well due to the courage of a handful of people like Jason. So it's been amazing to see, but I think we have made so much progress, and I am so proud that so many people have made this happen through their great courage. And I'm proud to have two openly gay colleagues on the Los Angeles City Council. If you had asked me whether I would see that 40 years ago, I never dreamed it in my wildest dreams. So a lot of great things have happened, and I'm so proud to have seen it and to play a small role in it as well.
Okay, Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations to all of the honorees for being here today and for your recognition, and obviously to my colleagues for the leadership that they're displaying here today. You know, Los Angeles does have a rich history, and there are real, I think, milestones that need to be celebrated, which is why today is so special. You know, we know that, you know, Mitch mentioned that one of the first gay pride parades was here in 1970. We also know that the Metropolitan Church was one of the first churches in all of the country to congregate and form and celebrate together in the 60s and 70s. And now there's over 200 of these congregations across the country, and it started here in Los Angeles. We know that the leadership here has moved its way to Washington, D.C. and into Sacramento, and as a result, we've had tremendous legislation, as Mr. Koretz mentioned, but I had the opportunity to work on legislation that offered protections against bullying on sexual orientation, gender orientation, and I was proud to serve with so many of my colleagues to that movement. And then I was particularly moved by some of the stories of my friends and family who wanted to grow the love for one another into their own families, which is why I authored Assembly Bill 1217, which amended the Uniform Parentage Act. It made it so that we could redefine what an intended parent was and what a parent is, and we made it gender neutral. So this way that parents, same-sex couples, same-sex parents, could have the same legal parental rights when they endeavored to do so vis-a-vis surrogacy. And it was something that we did quietly, and I regret having been so sly about it, but we did it in a way that we were able to get Republican support, unbeknownst to them. And so I'm very honored to be here, and I think that we've got a long way to go. Jason, you said that there's some things that, you know, sort of are obvious, but I think there's still so much that needs to be done. Just as recently as 2008, we saw the Proposition 8 on the ballot that said no to same-sex couples. And it wasn't until 2010 when it was deemed unconstitutional, and the appeals weren't exhausted until 2013. But one of the great things that came out of that campaign, that came out of that No on 8 campaign, were 4 words that I live by that are, if you come to my home, they're posted on a wall every day before I leave my house, and every time I come home to retire for the day. There are 4 words that I think help us understand what this and so much that we need to do for our community are about. Defend equality, and love unites. Thank you very much.
Mr. Labange.
Achai.
want to congratulate all the honorees and welcome to the Grand City Hall. I also want to especially shout out to June Langmay, room 347, back in so many years ago when you started with the city with Peggy Stevenson. I want to give a shout out for Peggy Stevenson, who hired the first openly gay deputy, Larry Ray, who lived in Atwater Village. I want to give a shout out to the Metropolitan Church right now and Reverend Neil Thomas. Get out there and wave. Just want to let you know. Hey, Neil, get out, wave. He's open every day, especially on Sundays. So I wanted to let you know. Good to see you, Reverend. It's in our district there, right across the street from yours. But also a big shout out to my brother, Bill Rosendahl, who served this city so well.
Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I could not be prouder of my colleagues. The LGBT caucus of the city of Los Angeles, Mr. Galpin, Mitch O'Farrell, and Mike Bonin. I consider myself an honorary member, by the way. I often talk about my parents and what an impact they've made in my life. But one of the things that I am so thankful is that they instilled in my sister and I the acceptance of others at a very early age. And when I got to work with the LGBT community as a 15-year-old, talking about very serious issues like the spread of HIV and AIDS, and I saw friends of mine die, I couldn't be prouder of my parents and the sense of values that they instilled in my sister and I to accept everyone, regardless of their gender and their sexual orientation. And hate is not something you're born with. It is something you're taught. And so as a parent, as somebody who has fought alongside the LGBT community, I encourage all the parents in the audience and all of us who are raising children in this city to accept one another, to teach our kids that it's okay. It's okay and it's accepting to love everyone regardless of their sexual orientation. We have that responsibility and that duty to generations. And to all of you, thank you so much for your extraordinary courage. I am so proud to stand with you today. Thank you very much.
Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And to our controller, congratulations to you for breaking yet another barrier, and there will be more. There will be more. And thank you so much for getting together a wonderful group of honorees. And to Jason, I watched you playing basketball at Stanford. I followed your career, except I rooted against you when you played Cal, my alma mater. But other than that, I loved watching you, and you're doing a great job, and another person breaking barriers. But I also wanted to mention my good friend, Bill Rosenthal, who my last 7 or 8 years on council and the time we served together, it didn't necessarily have to be an LGBT issue. Whatever public policy discussion we had, he raised that flag to make sure we were taking that into account. He was a pioneer himself in terms of the number of the work you did here in changing people's minds and promoting LGBT issues. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Bill, for the work you've done. We love you, Bill. And last but not least, Mr. President, I just want to note for the record, and if this could go into the record, when the mariachi came in, the song they were playing was La Marcha de Zacatecas, which is the state I'm from in Mexico, and also where the parents, where Ms. Martinez came from. So I just want to note that for the record. Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate that, Mr. Huizar, because I've really, for 45 minutes, I was trying to get the answer to that. So thank you for putting my mind at ease. Now I'd like to call on Mr. Bloomingfield to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I just wanted to join into this celebration, let you know how proud I am of my colleagues taking leadership and how thrilled I am to be part of this momentous occasion. Hanging in my office, a lot of you may not know, but I have a bill that was signed in 1994 about the earthquake. And on it, the person I worked for wrote, Congressman Berman wrote, thanks to you, there's a civil rights piece in it. I'm very proud of what's in that bill. And what a lot of people don't realize was the first time that sexual orientation was included as a protected class in federal law was the Northridge earthquake bill in 1994. And I was very engaged in that and so proud of it that I keep that hanging in my office to this day and always have ever since that bill was passed. So for me, it's an issue I take very personally. It's really an extension of the civil rights movement. And I know, as someone who's in an interracial marriage, I wouldn't have been allowed to marry my wife the year I was born in 1967. And many of you wouldn't have been allowed to, obviously wouldn't have been allowed to marry each other then, but it has been an evolution and a revolution. And it's one that I'm proud that the city of Los Angeles is on the leading edge of, and we need to continue to be on the leading edge of. So I join my colleagues in this wonderful celebration, and thank you for bringing it forward today.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. And the last thing I do want to say, Bill, it's always a pleasure to see you. And whenever there was a social issue, any social issue, we could all count on you standing with us at our sides. So I appreciate you, and it was an honor to serve with you. To the rest of you, thank you for all that you have done. Just maybe one day, some of us might really get to see a time when people are judged on their deeds and their actions and not on how they look or who they sleep with. And Young, you're not the only person, you two are not the only people in this room that have been married 3 times. But I'm not going to ask you to hold your hands up. But anyway, let's give another round of applause. Thank you so very much. It's an honor to have you all with us today.
And there's a reception out in the forecourt that everybody is invited to, of course, after council, but the audience can come.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bonin. And before I call on Mr. Labange, Mr. Huizar, it's my understanding that something has been worked out. I think item 14. Why don't we take that up now, Mr. Krikorian?
If it's your pleasure, Mr. President, we can do number 13 and 14 together. Save a little time.
13, I think we've already dispensed with.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even more time efficient then.
14.
Yeah, I just want to, I had the opportunity to, Mr. Huizar proposed an amendment regarding the recommendation on downtown filming. It makes perfectly good sense, his recommended amendment, so I'd be happy to accept that as friendly. Okay. And with that, members, I just want to thank Mr. O'Farrell and Mr. Price for the hard work that they did on the Film and Television Ad Hoc Committee. And this bill, this motion that's before you is the result of some of the discussions that we had there and the input that we drew from so many stakeholders throughout this industry. And before we go to the vote, I also would be remiss if I didn't know that just this week, the State Assembly approved an extension and expansion of the Film and Television Production Tax Incentive.
Wonderful.
And our Assembly member, Raul Bocanegra, led the charge on that and did magnificent work in getting a unanimous vote. When Mr. Fuentes and I were working on this issue, that seemed like an impossible dream to do, but a unanimous vote in the State Assembly sends a very strong message that this state needs to move forward with this production tax incentive. So I would just urge all members to contact your state senators now and let them know how important it is to this city that that bill moves forward.
Thank you. Mr. Huizar?
Thank you, Mr. President. And before I propose the amendment, I just want to thank Mr. Krikorian and all the other makers of this motion for working on protecting and supporting a very important industry for the state of California, which is the filming industry. And I will make a verbal friendly amendment for the clerk if he should accept, and we worked it out with Mr. Krikorian. And we will replace item number 6 with the following language. instruct the CLA and the CAO to work with CD14 and CD9 and Film LA and report on the holiday moratorium on filming and shooting hours for downtown Los Angeles and on how to increase public outreach during filming in downtown LA. We've already been working with Film LA on this matter, so we wanted to make sure that language here was appropriate and works with the work we've been doing with Film LA in downtown. We're in discussions right now and working on that. Thank you.
Okay, so that language is fine. And Mr. Krikorian, members, let's prepare to vote on that item. Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. You have some people you want to introduce?
Just in the back, they've been here for a little while. They want to recognize the Walden School and the teachers, Denise, Jose, and Janice.
Where are
first
they?
And second graders. I think they're way in the back there.
Welcome.
You see them in the back. Get the camera on them way back there. Thank you guys for coming.
Mr. Labange.
And I want to call forthwith on 14 because we're all Action Jackson.
Forthwith.
Forthwith.
13 and 14.
Albert, come up here, Albert. Give Albert a big hand right here. This is the city clerk's office. Now, everybody loves Albert. Albert is very special to our city clerk's office, and for the past 3.5 years, starting in the fall of 2010, he has been a student professional worker, and he presents himself so professionally, so politely, and is loved. Let's hear it again for Albert. He's the kind of individual that comes along not that often, that has it all the skills. He's the go-to person for all the computer hardware in the clerk's office. He also is a great photographer and knew how to be able to capture beautiful scenes of our city and share them with others, plus help in the archives. And give Todd a big hand for the city clerk archives right here. So our city clerk right here, Holly, I want you to say a few words right now before we salute our honoree, but Albert's very special. You're going to miss him.
Well, Albert will be coming back, we hope. He's going to the Philippines to get married.
Congrats.
I am very proud of the entire city clerk staff. Albert, as many of you know, is pretty shy, so he's a little nervous, but he's responsible, as a lot of the city clerk employees you see before you, for the quiet behind-the-scenes efficient operations of both what goes on in the city clerk's office and what goes on here in council. So Albert is the guy that when you call and say your computer's broken, and he's the one that tells you to turn it off and turn it back on again. Or is it plugged in? He's the guy. Anyway, he's a joy to work with. He's always pleasant. He's always professional. And he's a great asset to the city clerk's office and to the city family.
Thank you.
Thank you. And especially, Holly, we want to thank you, Mr. President, and Mr. Krikorian, the budget chair, and all the members, because his position is now in the budget. He's no longer a student professional worker. He's going off to his home in the Philippines to get married. He's leaving on Sunday, is that correct? You're going off to get married, right? I want to make sure. Okay. So he's on his way, but when he comes back, he'll be to help us all the time another day. Let's hear it for Albert Lau.
All right.
Thank you. Here we go. Get in here. Get in here. Get in here.
It is such a great honor to receive this recognition. I sincerely thank Council Member Tom Labange and all the council members and all my colleagues for all the support. It is always a pleasure to serve City Clerk and the City of LA. Thanks.
And I want to say the nicest job here is because Albert, our own Albert down in the clerk's office does a great job. Let's hear it for the calligraphers of the city clerk's office, Ed and everybody down there. Mr. President, thank you so much. Here we go. Right through that door. Boom.
Thank you so very much.
Got it. Here we go. Right through it.
To the clerk's office, Holly and all of the staff, thank you for all that you do for us.
Good to see you. We'll get you out there.
Mr. Fuentes, before I call on you, I want to see if I can get Mr. Walsh on item 2 and Daniel Josephson. So if you please come forward right now, and then Mr. Fuentes will go right into your presentation. Mr. Josephson, go right ahead, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, council members. I'm here on behalf of the Park at LAX Incorporated to speak against the lien that is proposed against my client. The reason I'm here is that the Office of Finance has not provided my client with a sufficient adjudicative proceeding in order to protect their rights. More specifically, the municipal code of this very city provides for an assessment review officer hearing. It also provides for a board of review hearing, neither of which was provided to my client in this case. I'm very concerned about due process rights to my client and those being violated, and the fact that this body is considering a notice of lien without any opportunity to be heard or on a noticed proceeding leaves my client in a very precarious position. So I would ask that this body, at minimum, continue the hearing or continue the matter until such time as we can have, as my client has, an assessment review officer hearing or a board of review hearing. In the alternative, I would ask this body to please deny and withdraw the request for a lien. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or at J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. And you'll see photos of what just happened on our tweet. This is a very complex issue. This is not chump change we're talking about. The park at LAX it's an enormous issue. The city says they owe $560,000, over $500,000. And I think it's time for you to collect this, and it's time for their lobbyists to stop, and it's time for you to start collecting these unpaid taxes that will amount to millions of dollars. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Okay, members, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that moves forward. Mr. Fuentes.
Ms. Martinez, Mr. Cedillo, if you want to join me, you're welcome. Good morning, colleagues. Mr. President and colleagues, we are here today to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Día del Yucateco, when the state of Yucatan, round of applause. When the state of Yucatan formally joined the Mexican United States in 1823. It's an important date in history for more than 150,000 Angelinos who have ties to Yucatan, 40,000 of which live in the San Fernando Valley. Those Yucatecos call Los Angeles home thanks to the braceros who came to the United States to work in 1942. They later settled with their families in our great city of Nuestra Señora de Los Angeles. Today, fourth-generation Yucatecos are successful doctors, lawyers, educators, and business owners who are now living the American dream in our great city. My office has been working with Casa de la Cultura Maya on today's presentation. And Marco, thank you for all of the hard work for this great event. We are honored today, colleagues, to be joined by a delegation from the beautiful state of Yucatan, Mexico. Please join me in welcoming to our city for the first time the mayor of Mérida, Yucatán, el alcalde Renan Barrera Concha. Señor alcalde, bienvenido a su ciudad, la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Por favor.
Muchas gracias, muy buenas tardes. Quiero agradecer la presencia y también la bienvenida que nos ha dado el presidente del Cabildo de Los Ángeles, Herb Wesson. Gracias también a cada uno de los concejales que están aquí presentes. Vamos a traducir. Okay.
Yeah, where's the... Let's try that again if we could.
Muy bien. Agradezco la oportunidad de estar aquí esta tarde.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to be with you here this afternoon.
Agradezco al señor Herb Wilson también el poder recibirnos,
And thank you to Mr. Wilson for receiving us.
a toda la comunidad yucateca que está aquí presente,
To all the Yucateca community that's here today,
a la prensa y a los medios de comunicación.
and also to our press.
Es un gusto estar en esta reunión en la que las más altas autoridades de Los Ángeles nos reciben.
It's a pleasure to be in this meeting where the greatest leadership of this city receives us,
para establecer vínculos entre nuestra ciudad de Mérida y esta ciudad donde vive la comunidad mexicana más grande del mundo.
and it's a pleasure to establish ties between this city and the city of Meriba, where the largest Mexican community lives.
Y en la que, según sabemos, hay millones de paisanos mexicanos, muchos miles de ellos yucatecos de nuestra tierra, que es como estar en casa.
In which we know there are millions of Mexicans here, and also many of them Yucatecans as well.
Y es motivo de gran admiración ver cómo nuestros paisanos mantienen vivas sus costumbres.
And it's beautiful to see how our countrymen maintain their customs,
las tradiciones y también un orgullo de su origen y ver cómo también podemos transmitirlas a las nuevas generaciones.
their traditions, and also to see how we can pass those on to the new generations.
Así como ellos, muchas otras comunidades de los más variados orígenes
Just as they, many other communities with varied backgrounds
también conviven en esta ciudad, haciéndola una metrópoli cosmopolita,
they also participate and live in this city, which makes it a great metropolis,
en donde todos pueden compartir su cultura nativa y también, por supuesto, el sueño americano.
where everyone can celebrate their native culture and also participate in the American dream.
Hoy venimos en esta fecha tan especial a celebrar ese orgullo por el origen mexicano y yucateco.
Today we come for that reason, to celebrate the Mexican pride.
Al mismo tiempo venimos a compartir con ustedes lo mucho que Mérida les puede ofrecer, tanto en lo turístico como en lo empresarial y lo cultural.
Also, we come to offer you everything we have to offer you in culture and also in industry.
Mérida es la ciudad líder en el sureste mexicano, en donde la alta calidad de los servicios públicos proporcionados por el ayuntamiento
Mérida is a leading city that offers culture and industry,
se conjuga y convive con una alta calidad también de servicios académicos y médicos.
and it also joins and offers academic opportunities as well.
También posee una privilegiada posición geográfica y una conectividad con Estados Unidos, Centro y Suramérica.
It also enjoys a rich geography and a unity or a tie to the United States.
Y también con un clima que la hacen uno de los destinos favoritos de los estadounidenses que buscan la cultura como atractivo.
And also a wonderful climate that many U.S. citizens seek out to enjoy.
Mención también especial requiere que Mérida es una de las ciudades más seguras de todo México.
Also, it serves to mention that Mérida is one of the most safest communities in Mexico.
Y por ello, esta visita responde entonces a dos objetivos fundamentales.
And for that, this visit has two fundamental purposes.
Uno, que es convivir con nuestros paisanos y fortalecer sus raíces culturales.
One is to partake and enjoy our cultural roots with our countrymen.
Y dos, establecer vínculos que permitan alianzas entre los empresarios de Mérida y también de aquí de Los Ángeles.
And also to establish ties between the industry in Mexico and the United States.
Esta visita es la gran oportunidad para hacer crecer los vínculos que nos unen.
And this is a great opportunity to establish and to make grow the links, the ties that unite us.
Hoy es un día que puede ser histórico en las relaciones entre nuestras ciudades porque nos reunimos con las más altas autoridades de cada una de ellas.
And today is a day where we can enjoy a greater advancement of the ties, because today we have the greatest leadership of both cities.
Agradezco a la comunidad yucateca de Los Ángeles la invitación y al gobierno de la ciudad por recibirnos.
I'm grateful to the Yucatan community in Los Angeles and for the city for receiving us.
Con este recibimiento nos hacen sentir en casa. Muchas gracias.
You make us feel at home at this welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Councilman, Council President, colleagues, we are joined obviously by my colleagues, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Huizar, and Mr. Cedillo, the Latino caucus of the City Council. But we also have in this delegation representatives from the Governor's Office of Yucatan, as well as some of our counterparts in the city of Merida. I wanted to also let you all know that the Consul General for Mexico, Consul Carlos Sada, was here, but he had to leave, unfortunately. We're also joined by the Consul General of Ecuador, Ingeniero Diego Jaramillo, who is here, I still hope, as well as the Consul General of Guatemala, Pablo Garcia Sáenz. Give them a big round of applause. Colleagues, in addition to the resolution that we're presenting here today to recognize today's festivities, we're going to be having a celebration afterwards as well, recognizing several outstanding Yucatecos. But there is one that Mr. Huizar is going to help me present that is very important because it's one of our very own. Mr. Huizar.
Very much, Mr. Fuentes. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Fuentes, and thank you for helping put this event together. And you know, we see guayaberas, which is these outfits that we see on our gentlemen throughout the United States and Mexico, and it's actually one of the exportations of Yucatan, and it started there, I think, and now it's the official dress sometimes from down there, so that's where we could acknowledge.
And very nifty looking, Mr. Huizar, and maybe you could export a medium to the 4th floor.
We're going to get you one too, Mr. President. But I'd like to thank La Casa de la Cultura Maya and all of the other organizations and the Yucatec Committee for the great work you do every day, and in particular for organizing el Día del Yucateco this year, along with Council Member Fuentes. Y le quisiera dar la bienvenida a las personas que nos visitan de Mérida y también a nuestros cónsules de México, Guatemala, Ecuador. Y gracias y bienvenidos, y gracias al presidente de Mérida por estar aquí con nosotros. And today, I'm very happy and thrilled to acknowledge Yucateco, who has done so much for this great city of Los Angeles. And he is the 2014 Yucatec of the Year, and I'm talking about none other than LAPD Captain Martin Baeza. You could please come up here. Captain Baeza was born in Merida, Yucatan, and immigrated to the United States with his family at the age of 2, settling in the Los Angeles area. He grew up in the Northeast and Rampart areas of Los Angeles. He later joined the Los Angeles Police Department in 1989 as a Los Angeles police officer, and in 2011 he was promoted to the position of captain and was assigned as a commanding officer of the West Los Angeles Patrol Division. A year later, he was promoted to Captain 2 as a commanding officer of Recruit Training Division, where he was responsible for training of all new Los Angeles police officers. Today, he is serving our city as Captain 3 at Hollenbeck Division in my district. And, you know, he has been working very closely with my office on a day-to-day basis. In fact, our new Bull Heights City Hall is right across the street from the new Hollenbeck Police Station, and he has really become a community captain. He is at all our community events. In his short time that he has been there, all the community leaders know him well. He is committed. He has strong roots to the neighborhood, and I'm happy to see that our Deputy Chief Perez made a great choice, and thank you for having him and having him at Hollenbeck Police Station. So thank you so much, and on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, it's our great pleasure to introduce a great Yucateco and also a great role model of what immigrants can achieve in this great city and in this great country. Congratulations, Captain Baeza.
Congratulations, Captain. Congratulations.
Let me present this. Thank you. There you go. Here's a resolution signed by all the council members. And congratulations again. And I'll hold this for you. I won't keep it. You can say a few words now.
Thank you, Councilman, and thank you to all the honorable council members here. I just want to say that it's a great honor for me to be recognized not only by the council, but also by the Yucatan community. I think it's very important that I acknowledge the Casa Cultura Maya for really doing a great job in keeping the culture alive. I want to thank them for recognizing me for doing a job that I love to do. I want to thank my wife, who hardly sees me. And also I do want to acknowledge and thank my parents, Fausto and Zoila, who are here in the audience, who came to this country to give us an opportunity to seek out our dreams. So for that, thank you. I also wanted to say how proud I am to have grown up in the city of Los Angeles, to serve in the community, to come back to Hollenbeck, which was part of the area that I grew up, went to school locally, and it is quite an honor to work with such great support from Deputy Chief Perez, and also with the support of Council District 1, Mr. Cedillo, and also Council District 14, Mr. Huizar, who have been great partners in the community. So in saying that, I just want to say thank you, and I'm so proud to accept this recognition. Thank you.
And thank you. Captain, have your mom and dad stand. Where are they? Let us see them. Where's mom? Yeah. Thank you for your son. Thank you so very much.
I am so proud to join my colleagues in welcoming the Mexican delegation from Yucatan. Too often we forget how diverse other nations are. Mexico is no exception. Everyone has their own style of food, dress, and their unique histories. Yucatecos are a little bit different, though. They have fought for their unique legacy. Preserving their culture has been a priority, and our society has benefited greatly. From their incredible astronomical and mathematical systems to the ruins in Chichen Itza, we have learned a great deal of their own society. But there are a living history here in the United States and abroad. Today, there are many Yucatecos that live throughout the city of Los Angeles. Through community centers, clubs, and organizations, they are continuing to make history in our community today. So thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to the city of Los Angeles, and thank you for choosing Los Angeles as the home of Día del Yucateco. Felicidades y bienvenidos a su ciudad de Los Ángeles. Soy zacatecana, como mi colega José Huizar, pero nos da mucho orgullo recibirlos aquí en su ciudad y esperamos tener muy buena colaboración entre la ciudad de nosotros y Mérida, Yucatán. Felicidades y bienvenidos.
Just briefly, as we do this family photo here, there's so much pride. The Baeza family has been a family of leadership in our communities for many, many years. Captain, we appreciate your leadership, and we know how proud your family is. The station in Hollenbeck has a rich history and is very tied to our community and to the community policing, and so we're very proud of you today. We're very proud that the community is recognizing your leadership, and we appreciate you both from Boyle Heights throughout the entire Northeast, and continue to look forward to your growth as a leader of our community. You are one example of the type of leadership that immigrants bring to the city, and I think that's important for us. That at a time when Congress fails to act, and at a time when the president continues policies which no longer serve their objective, we must recognize day in and day out the incredible richness and the incredible partnership that exists on an unspoken but a very real way between Mexico and the United States. And Mérida is just one great example. A community of a mere 5,000 years They are here. They provide incredible cultural attributes, food, music, art. They are a gem of the world. If you look at an article, March 24th, 2013, the Los Angeles Times talks about it being one of the new destination points in the world because people have begun to appreciate this great community. And so we thank you for being here today, but more so we thank you for your leadership. Mr. Mayor, Alcalde, quiero decir bienvenidos porque you are a leader. And Mr. Wesson, all of us, Felipe, thank you for your leadership. We travel around the world as representatives of our country. We, as Mexican Americans, represent our country throughout the world, and we appreciate when we are received with the appropriate respect. We are all partners in governance. We are involved in the process of creating a civil society. We are all partners in seeking peace and justice for the entirety of the human experience. And so we want to welcome you here today because we know that we have common values, a common bond, but most important, we know that we have a common future and that we cannot deny that the relationships between Mexico and the United States are common, both in our history, in our present, but most importantly, in our future. And thank you for your presence and leadership.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, let's give the delegation a big round of applause as we celebrate El Día del Yucateco.
Let's take some in the back. Yes. All right, come on. Bueno, vamos acá atrás a tomar más fotos. ¿Me siguen, por favor?
Thank you again and congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Thank you so very much.
How are you? See you. You know I'm from Mérida, Yucatán, don't you?
If we could exit quietly. And before I call on Mr. Koretz, I'd like to take a moment to mention that my wife, Fabian, is joining me today. And I have her brother, my brother-in-law, Harrison, all the way from Indianapolis. So if you could give them a round of applause, then that means I will not have to sleep in my car on the driveway. So I appreciate that. So Mr. Koretz, if you could begin to make your way to the center aisle. As soon as you have an opening. Or you could have a flashback and just hop over your desk, you know, because you're such the athlete. You know, I attest to that.
By the way, Mr. President, I did actually run the hurdles a little bit in high school, but that was a long time ago.
Oh, but you are an athlete.
You're not going to see me hurtling over my desk here anytime soon. Well, colleagues, today I'm thrilled to bring to Council the amazing Nancy Silverton, who earlier this month was named Outstanding Chef by the James Beard Foundation. This tremendous award is the foremost honor accorded each year in the world of food. And in 2014, it was Nancy who was singled out. Please, everybody, give me a warm round of applause for Nancy for this spectacular achievement.
Yeah, please.
As the LA Times noted, this is the culinary equivalent of winning a Best Actor Oscar. And she's the first LA chef to win this ultimate accolade since 1998, when Wolfgang Puck won it, and even that was a tie with another chef. So this is pretty remarkable. Here in Los Angeles, we've known what a stunningly magnificent chef Nancy is, but this career triumph formally enshrines her once and for all in the pantheon of the world's greatest chefs ever. And so our city has great cause to celebrate, both because of civic pride, but also because we can readily enjoy her fabulous restaurants. She helped the world acknowledge Los Angeles as a food capital. And time and again, she has delighted and enchanted diners with the sheer excellence of her exquisite food. Nancy is the co-author of Pizzeria and Osteria Moza in Los Angeles, Singapore, and Newport Beach, as well as Moza To Go and Key Spaka in Los Angeles. And I might have mangled those names, but I have eaten at some of them, so I enjoyed the food nonetheless. Nancy is an amazing bread baker, cookbook author, founder of the world-famous La Brea Bakery, former co-owner of Campanile, and she's been named one of the most influential people by the Los Angeles Times for changing the way Los Angelinos eat. Along with congratulating her on her awesome accomplishments, I want to salute her and her staff and everyone else who's been a part of this tremendous success story, which has required stout heart and ceaseless dedication. As we all know, the restaurant business is tough, and there are swings of fortune. So today we rejoice for her food, but we also salute her fortitude, resilience, and a heart she shows in championing Meals on Wheels and other such efforts of civic virtue and humanitarian devotion. So we thank and congratulate Nancy for what she means to the world and to our city. And I'd love for you to say a few words and tell us how it feels to be the outstanding chef.
Nancy, before you speak, Mr. Labange and I were together at, I guess, the re-grand opening of the LA Bakery, not La Brea Bakery, wasn't that long ago. The best chocolate chip cookies I ever had in my life. So I want you to know that whenever I think of chocolate chip, I think of you. It was a wonderful day. And sorry you weren't there, Mr. Koretz. Labange and I ate all of the samples.
Oh, if I could have been, I would have. And whatever I would have eaten would have been the best of whatever I ever had.
I'm amazing. Sure. Mr. Labange?
I second them, but all that you've done, you've touched and turned to gold and made Los Angeles an economic engine, as in the food movement. Very special to you and your team. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Koretz.
Congratulations. Let's give her another round of applause.
Well, I think the most important lesson I learned as a bread maker was patience. You need to have a lot of patience to make a great loaf of bread. So it seems that only fitting that I was left to last, because I had a lot of patience this morning. But it was really wonderful honorees, and I might be the only one up here by myself, but I want to let everybody know that in spirit, I have hundreds of people that help me every day in the Moza and Key Spaka family in Los Angeles and Singapore and San Diego and Newport. We all work very hard every day, hopefully, to make your day a better day. But I do want to say that I really am honored to receive this award and thank the mayor and the city council for really recognizing what an important industry I belong to, what an important community, the food industry, the food community. We provide jobs for thousands and thousands of people. We, besides those jobs, I have to say we also give you great taxes. I pay great taxes to help our city but feeding people and the joy that people have in eating our food and all of the food around the city really is important to the spirit and the life of our city. And so I thank you very much.
No, we thank you. We thank you.
And it's my honor to present on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and the Mayor and the Controller and the City Attorney and all of my colleagues this resolution declaring Nancy Silverton Day in the City of Los Angeles. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you and congratulations. We'll go now to item 18. Mr. Bloomingfield, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to take a second. I wanted to acknowledge and introduce Patrice Crisinel, who's a visiting student in the back there. He's coming from Switzerland. You can wave to everyone. And he's attending the same business program at Anderson School that one of my staff members attended, and the same program that I attended years ago. And he's here to see what LA City is all about. So thank you for being here.
Welcome.
Patrice.
Item 18, if we could have Mr. Sachs, Mr. Walsh, and Mr. Herman. Mr. Walsh, you can go right ahead.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, at J. Walsh Confidential, at Hollywood Dems. Tweeting this again is REAP, 1423 South Westmoreland Avenue. What these people at that address are now paying their rent, not to the owner, but to the city until the owner cleans up the property. The owner isn't going to do a damn thing unless you go to the city, and now the owner isn't getting so if you have any problems in your house, they'll never tell you. If you have anything out of code, not up to code, go to the city. And incidentally, La Brea Bakery, free cookies for anyone who works for the city.
Stay on the subject. You're not on the subject. Okay, the next speaker, I see Mr. Herman. Oh, I see Arno. Arno, I didn't see you. Come on in.
Yes, thank you again. Good morning. No, good afternoon. Arnold Sachs here. You know, I'm going to talk about the same thing, and these are violations that are called in, I believe, or as Mr. Weezer mentioned, are they violations sent out by registered letter, and the costs associated with complying with cleaning up these violations. That's the key point here. It's always the cost associated. Do they cover the costs? And you have this listed on almost every agenda. You have the rent escrow account program. Do you get the program for foreclosed properties? 4 years. You haven't had one program, one item listed for rent, for foreclosed property that's been in disrepair. Do any of them ever end up as being called in for violations where they can be violated as a rent escrow property and as a foreclosed property? Philadelphia is getting $300 a property. They have the same property, and the city is become proactive. Why are you falling behind Philadelphia? Philadelphia? Whew.
Thank you. So if I could have Mr. Herman and Ms. Ramirez.
In 1 minute, I'm going to announce how good it is that Los Angeles has a Housing and Community Investment Development Code Enforcement Unit, for it offers you, the tenants, the rights to a clean and habitable home. So we have CD1 1423 South Westbound Avenue, case number 4819. CD1 1622 West 11th Street, case closed. We have 4380 North Bankerman Avenue. We also have in CD14 3224 East 4th Street. Hold my time to 1 minute. Thank you, folks.
Ms. Ramirez?
Relative to the removing the street widening improvement requirement to maintain consistent street standards and to promote the pedestrian experience,
Mr. President, that is not the item on topic today.
No, this is on item 18. I'm sorry. So maybe you're speaking on one of your other items.
Oh, excuse me. Let me,
Hold your time.
Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Number 18. I would like the City of Los Angeles to clearly define code enforcement's unit's job description duties and the LAPD's job description duties when it comes to habitability and when it comes to citations. Who gives citations for toxic noise, and toxic noise? It's not clearly defined.
Mr. President, the speaker appears to be off topic. We're on item number 18.
Which deals with our rent escrow account.
Again, you would talk about enforcement unit and code enforcement and habitability citations, and that spreads throughout the LA city. And again, these are same issues that every person in every home is having problems with, even if they are in rent escrow account programs. Most people want to avoid the rent escrow account programs, so let's deter these problems before they get to the rent escrow account programs. So help us here. Define these duties with the police department and code enforcement so no one is confused or no one is scattered. We need to define these so that way we can avoid problems. And again, it won't end up on the city here at City Council. Let's find solutions. Let's troubleshoot. Let's help the citizens, law-abiding citizens, not wetbacks. Thank you.
Okay, let's. You were doing so well too. Really, so well. If we could prepare to vote on this item, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
No comments from the gallery, Mr. Herman. Now we're going to take up item 19. And I have Mr. Sachs. If you're still, you may want to work your way. You'll be first. And is there Doug Haynes? Please work your way. John Walsh. Mr. Herman, and I'll get to the remaining cards. So let's start off, Mr. Sachs.
And, Mr. President, pardon me, there is an amending motion for item 19, 19A, motion O'Farrell-Martinez, that has been circulated and is now before council for consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you, Arnold Sachs. Has this been vetted or discussed with the planning committee or the planning commission that would oversee this particular area of the city of LA, or is this just done by the city council? And does this become a street that'll be similar to like Broadway now, where they're putting in those bullards, where they're eliminating one lane? And again, back to the language here. You want to have wider sidewalks, enhanced parkways, wider sidewalks, and enhanced landscaping. You've had lawsuits where the city has been sued and they have declared the sidewalks to be a right-of-way. So I ask again why you don't use that language in your agenda items. If you used it in a legal proceeding, then you should use the same language, because it's no longer limited to legal use when you make it public like that. You should use it in your agenda items, and you should use it in a way that the public knows when they're on the sidewalk, it is actually the right-of-way, because you've already designated a right-of-way to be the sidewalk. And it may be minutia to you, but when somebody has a trip and fall accident, it's not minutia anymore. And so I ask, Has this been done? I mean, you just had an item down here where the Planning Commission, or you overturned a pedestrian bridge that was denied by the Planning Zoning Commission, and you overturned that. So does the Zoning Commission have input on this, and have there been public hearings regarding the use, and are people aware that this would be like...
Thank you, Arnold. Mr. Haynes, followed by Mr. Walsh. You're there, then we'll get Doug. Mr. Walsh? Oh, Mr. Haynes. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Doug Haynes. I'm with the La Mirada Avenue Neighborhood Association. I want to make the council aware that La Mirada and Robert Blue have a binding settlement agreement with the successor in interest of this project, California Landmark Group. That agreement requires that the street widening obligation be fulfilled. However, we are currently in discussion with California Landmark to instead require the covenant, which you have as your amended motion 19A, to require that a covenant be placed on the title so that the property owner, not the taxpayer, will be obligated to pay any future widening expense. That was at our initiative. Since none of you are aware of what this project was, some of you were here at the time, I'll remind you of what occurred and why there was litigation. 3 separate neighborhood groups appealed the project: the Larchmont Village Neighborhood Association, the Melrose Hill Neighborhood Association, and La Mirada. Upon acquiring the property, the developer ignored relocation laws and instead terrorized the residents into leaving immediately, forging signatures and threatening to have tenants deported if they protested. Over 132 people were kicked out within 3 months. Many had lived there for over 30 years. The site was a historically significant bungalow village dating to 1916 with 113 mature trees, including protected species. The developer bulldozed the entire site prior to filing his MND, therefore avoiding a review of impacts. The developer didn't reveal that he sought entitlements for property that he didn't own. The City Planning Commission voted 7-0 to deny the project. Then upon appeal, the Plum Committee approved a revised project not described in the agenda, and after the close of public comment, the Director of Planning refused to approve that ordinance, not once but twice. The City Council then changed the project's entitlements again during its hearing of the second consideration without notice to the public. And in court, the City Attorney publicly declared that she didn't care about the case and wouldn't defend it. Thank you.
Thank you. So if I can now get Mr. Walsh and Mr. Herman.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. I defer to Mr. Haynes. Mr. Haynes, you know, you really can tell when somebody gets up here and knows what they're talking about and when somebody gets up here and masturbates for 2 minutes, okay? So
On the
you see
subject.
what we have now. Now, what I'm going to say here is what Mr. Haynes said, double down on everything he said. The area was bulldozed. 132 people were kicked out of their homes, and now you're making a deal for them. Now, I've lived in Hollywood since October 1976, 38 years. I was first on Hollywood Boulevard, first lived in the city in 1966, before some of you were born. Doug Haynes is doing an excellent job, and as far as our city councilman on this issue, Mr. O'Farrell treats the developer the way Monica Lewinsky treated Clinton.
Let's stay on the subject. You're not on the subject. Okay, if we could have Mr. Herman followed by Ms. Ramirez. I'm calling. I know who you are, Mr.
Okay.
Herman. Do you want to speak or not?
Regarding the fraud and abuse of unreasonableness, are you not hearing what John Walsh has said to all of you all along? Have you paid any note or attention, Mr. O'Farrell, that the fact of the matter is we're talking about relative removing of the street widening improvement requirements to maintain consistent street standards when the city of Los Angeles has violated the rights of those persons, the people of ADA, American Disability Act. And to you people who I called my friends who are disabled, I am hurt by the action of the city of Los Angeles to be unreasonable for a $1 billion street sidewalk repair. But let's keep to topic, because here it says recoverable permit process to allow for enhanced parkway, wider sidewalks, and enhanced landscape. Now, are we talking about a public sidewalk? Are we talking about a public pathway? Are we talking about ADA compliance? Are we talking about ADAAG compliance? Are we talking about Section 504? Are we talking about Title 1 and 2, the American Disability, that you render fraud and abuse by unreasonableness to fix sidewalks and streets and to improve
Stay on the subject.
the Melrose Avenue at 5742, 5766 West Camford Avenue. Disgraceful, disgraceful, disgraceful. Unreasonable action to help people with disability and the elderly that use public sidewalks and streets. Thank you. 1 cent.
Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. And I, excuse me, I have a card. Is there someone here named Tripp or something like that? Then I got you. Don't think I didn't.
Thank you.
Ms. Ramirez.
Relative to removing the street widening improvement requirement to maintain consistent street standards and to promote the pedestrian experience, we, the taxpayers, demand that Mitch O'Farrell and Buscaino, along with other council members, to first and foremost hire our furloughed pilots and our
No, that's
military
not on
veterans.
the subject, Ms. Ramirez. Stay on the subject.
Asking you to do the improvements with the right people, and again to give our United States military veterans the right and the opportunities to join in and work.
Mr. President, the speaker should be reminded to stay on topic, which is item number 19 before this council.
And Mitch O'Farrell, I would like that very much because they have failed to hire military.
No. Anyway, thank you. You just won't stay on topic. Okay, Tripp, or you come and pronounce your name for me.
My name is Nathan Tripp, but we're not speaking on my topic today, so I'll waive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that's the last public comment card on this item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right. Let's go to item 1, and I believe this is James Lewin, I believe, Myra Hall, Frank Haverly or Havlavy. Mr. Sachs, if you please come forward. Yes, sir. And your name?
I'm sorry, Frank Halavi.
I've got you. Okay, Frank, go ahead.
Item 1B. This is a lien that has been placed on a property. This amount of $656 has already been paid back in 2009. And there I have the bank statements and accounting and emails that show it has been paid. I think it has been a mistake by the city, but it's really taking it too far to put a lien on this property. And I appreciate if the lien is removed, or I don't know what's the procedure to show that it has been paid. I have the paperwork.
Well, why don't we do this? If you don't leave, sir, just have a seat. We're going to go through all of the cards, and then we'll make a determination. I believe we're going to continue items, but just no applause. And then, so if you just have a seat for a few minutes, let us get through this. So, do I have a Ms. Hall? Please come forward.
Hi, this is regarding item 1J 552 West 110th Street. I'd like a continuance at least until June the 20th.
Okay, so there are going to be a continuance of some items. I just want to take everybody's testimony, so yours will be continued. I'll find out when, so if you could wait a moment, you'll hear our announcement.
Okay.
So, Mr. Sachs, are you the next one? Please come forward, followed by Mr. Walsh.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. And the deal with here is the Los Angeles Municipal Code and the Los Angeles Administrative Code. And who oversees the activities involved with those codes? Because part of your code work that you do here involved the action you took on foreclosed property. And yet nobody administers that action. $1,000 a day for foreclosed properties that have gone in disrepair. It's part of the Los Angeles Municipal Code. Could also be part of the Los Angeles Administrative Code. But again, there's no department that would administrate that particular code. And I'm just curious to know why you did the action.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Thank you, Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Herman. And again, the other folks that are here, really because they have a concern about their own properties, if you'd wait a few minutes, then you'll see what direction we're going into. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Our endorsements are up at J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. These are nuisance abatement costs, non-compliance of code violations. I don't think some of these should be automatic. They shouldn't have to come in front of you. Too many of these are for chicken shit amounts of money. North Radcliffe Avenue, $656.64, chicken shit. 652 East 76th Place, chicken shit. West Plummer, 2200 West Plummer, $691, chicken shit. Now, when you talk about 219 East 111, $4,000, I can see why that's up here and why the 6,500. But often what you do up here, always, is chicken shit.
To have a former teacher talk like that before the council is, anyway, don't disrupt. Now, the next speaker, Sergeants, we're having difficulty with Mr. Walsh. You may want to calm him down a tad. Mr. Herman.
I really don't find anything offensive with Mr. Walsh. May I continue?
No, that's not the subject. Now, do you want to speak on this or sit down?
Street, Miss Hall for $6,555.99. On top of that, because I'm on topic, Mr. Mike Bonin at 633 North Radisson Avenue, Aline, for a measly $856.64 to Mr. Frank and Miss Hall. Do you not see it predatory not to inform your constituents of a citation by an illegal lien of extortion and bribery? My understanding is Mr. Frank applied to the principle of paying what you demanded under building and safety citation. However, we find out that you continue to illegally pursue a lien, and according to this hearing and protest, it says, relative to the proposed lien for nuisance abatement costs and non-compliance of code violations and annual inspection costs, did you apply the due process legally under a certificate of notification? So I say to you, Angelinos in Los Angeles, Mr. Hermy, the civil rights advocate, Mr. Herman, Mr. Herm,
stay on the
is
subject.
A civil rights activist here in Los Angeles, saying to you, if you have an issue in Los Angeles on a lien or a problem with escrow, come here, because the education of Mr. John Walsh
No, stay on
and
the
myself.
No, stay on. Okay, your time is done. Mr. Tripp, okay, Sergeants, his time's done. Mr. Tripp, do you want to speak on this item as well, or do you want to wait for general public comment? Okay, I believe that, no, Mr. Tripp.
Thank you. I'll wait on public comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Let's vote on those items. Let's open the roll. No, I'm sorry. Let's announce what we're going to do, Mr. Clerk, where it relates to the items we know we have individuals that are concerned about.
Very good, Mr.
Frank and
President.
Ms. Hall, if you could.
The Department of Building and Safety reports that items 1A and 1H should be received and filed inasmuch as the liens have been paid, and that items 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F, 1G, 1I, and 1J should be continued to June 20th for further consultation with the owners.
Okay, so what do we actually vote on, or do we continue it all?
Mr. President, we have two items, A and H, to be received and filed. The remainder are to be continued to June 20th.
So without objection, we'll receive and file those two items, and then we'll just continue the other ones?
Yes.
If we could move to our special meeting.
Very good, sir. Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Correa, Labonte, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President. Mr. President, in regards to the item agendized for the special meeting, that's the mayor's veto message, nothing has been received at this point, and no council action is required.
Okay, well, I do have some cards. Public comment on this will be 1 minute, so if I could have Mr. Sachs, Mr. Walsh, Mr. Herman. And I can't make out this last card.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs, and congratulations on the significant amount of work that the city did on the budget. But again, you haven't included any of the funding in your budget that goes to the council district offices, whereas ends up at the council holder, the person sitting in the councilman's seat. No bus bench revenue, no billboard revenue. In the budget that goes to the city council district seat. No AB 1290 funds, no pipeline revenue. All these funds come back to the city, but the public doesn't know how it's spent. And I can appreciate the fact that the council staffs do a lot of work, but I think the neighborhood council should be involved in getting a share of that money and putting it to work because they're hands-on.
Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Herman. And again, I have a card, but I can't make out who or what it is. So, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This is the mayor technically issued a veto on the budget. It wasn't a real veto, it was a chicken shit veto. And the chicken shit veto has been removed, and now they don't even have to vote on it, but they had to put it on the agenda for chicken shit reasons. And I just like to point out there are 10 people in the audience, and the youngest is about 35, and I'm waiting for one person out there to complain about my language.
Stay on the item. Okay, you're off item. Your time is expired. I now have Mr. Herman. What, Mr. Labange?
Point of information, Mr. City Attorney, does the ITA Channel 35 have a 10-second bleep?
Mr. Councilman, I'm not aware of that.
All right, could we find out? Because then words as colorful as Mr.
Now he's hot. No,
Mr.
Labange. Mr. Labange, let me do this. Now Mr. Labange, now you're interrupting the meeting. One more disturbance like that, and I'll ask the sergeants to have a conversation with you. Okay, Herman, Mr. Herman.
This special is regarding the city administrative officer for city permits, license, and inspections of operation permits.
Mr. President, the speaker is off topic. We're on
As
special
normal.
agenda
Come
item
on, Mr. Herman. Give us a break and stay on topic.
Fine. We're discussing the mayor's veto message upon receipt, charter, dealing with codes of inspection for bonds, and it excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays upon receipt of the mayor's veto to overcome such actions of the mayor's relative to any item or items of the budget. So the budget has to do with our codes. It has to do with determining our requirements for capacity under unlawful permits. So the bonds do protect the city because it allows you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, again, that's the last public speaker I have on that. I cannot. And your name again?
My name is Leah Renee. Is that the name you have on there? I did hand in one for 20.
You know what? There was one name I couldn't make out, but I think that's it.
Okay.
So
we're on the
welcome,
same
and I'm
page.
sorry.
Great. Listen, I'll be really quick. I actually just want to let you know that when it comes to budgets, you got to collect your revenue, right? You're not collecting the revenue in the 11th District. You can ask Mike Bonin. I've been following up a long time. I'd like to know who the city attorney is for the public interest, because you're not collecting the revenue. You're complicit with the developers. I found $2 million in revenue. I've sat here through enough meetings where people don't have money. I have the LAUSD who doesn't have money, and I found $2 million of property taxes, and as I understand it, property taxes pay into the general fund. They call them existing houses. An existing house has to have a roof, and what they do is they play a shell game, and they call it an existing wall. So I'd like to know who's the city attorney, and if it's not the city attorney, who's the district attorney? If not, who's the state attorney general who will speak to me? I have 10,000 pages, and I just keep going through this, and I need help.
Thank you.
I'm asking, who do I go to?
Thank you for coming, and I'll try to get somebody from the 11th District. We have no control over the state or the county, so thank you. Okay, on that item, Mr. Clerk, there's no action.
Correct.
To take. So
Correct. Nothing's been received from the mayor, and no action is required.
Okay, so why don't we exit the special, go back to the regular, and I believe that brings us to general public comment, or am I wrong?
You're correct, sir. After adjourning
applause.
the special meeting, that brings us to general public comment.
Okay, the general public comment will be a minute. Stephen Garr, John Walsh, Antonio Ramirez will start off there.
5 minutes?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for at least listening to me. I'll be brief. I'll try to be chronological. I've been here before. I handed out a piece of paper, cover letter, and letter. I used to be with the Department of Building and Safety until I yelled out one day prior to me leaving there. I was there 5 years, promoted 4 times. The chief, Dave Keim, famous by the Crack Foundation, Newsweek magazine, called the real reason I was terminated argumentative. The reason I yelled out, medical, blood pressure. It later caused a heart attack. I spoke to Coltis. He was AGM personnel. He knew I knew and did my job, and this was 100% political. I came back here to take the building and safety test, scored high. I'm surprised. Between 2000 and 2005, I was animated. I had 2 known heart attacks, blood pressure, diabetes, cardiac. Mr. Bob McCready concluded on the investigation.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Finish your sentence.
They can't have you back ever because of what went on, but all of it was caused by medical. My request is...
Thank you. Thank you. Your minute is up. Okay, and was it... John, did I call you next? Mr. Walsh? And Ms. Ramirez.
John Walsh, we were cut HollywoodHighlands.org because of an hour and a half on the Fagala presentation. If you're Yiddish, you speak English, you know what I mean by Fagala. So we want to cut us to a minute. Look, the most important thing right now is the election. Go to our endorsements. We must defeat Autumn Burke. She's the white man's candidate. She is for fracking. She is with the Koch brothers, and she's endorsed by both Herb Wesson and the Koch brothers. The evidence is on our website. We must elect Betty Yee over her opponent, Fatso Perez. We must elect anybody but Padilla as for Secretary of State. We must elect Sandra Fluke And we must elect Dr. McKenna because he's a black man, not a white man in black clothing like you garbage.
Thank you. And I've been called worse than garbage. Thank you. Ms. Ramirez? No, wait. You know what? I told him not to disrupt, city attorney, and he did it again. I think he should be shown the way out of this building. He is not cooperating, not respecting. Johnson, help him find the back entrance. Yes, and I had already warned him, and he's still pointing the finger or something. That's not the way we run these meetings. Ms.
He
Ramirez?
appears to be leaving
We
on
are
his
giving
own, Mr.
notice to the
President.
following agencies: the INS, the DEA, the ATF, ICE, and the Department of Treasury for all crimes and reported financial earnings made from gang stalking and harassment against innocent victims. Case in point, the wickedly noisy, unsafe, and drug criminal haven for psychopaths is located at the Wilshire Marquee high-rise building at 10535 Wilshire Boulevard, LA, California, 90024. The following condos are engaged in organized crime: pedophiles, mail theft, toxic noise, human invasion robberies, and home invasion robberies. They are condo units number Deck 05, 504, 605, 704, 804, 1604. And again, they are hiring illegal criminal aliens and gangbangers. Again, President Elvira Schwartz is responsible as a homeowner association's president, and she should be arrested, sanctioned, and fired in collusion with the West LA.
Thank you so very much. So is Mr. Herman? Yeah, I see Mr. Herman. And Tripp, why don't you come up? This is where you can just speak. So, in fact, you're right there. Come on, Tripp. Come on. Mr. Tripp. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, everybody. I'm just wanting to say that I was wrongfully terminated from the city of Los Angeles about like a few months ago, and me and the board was not fully interested in the situation, so it didn't go too right for me. So I was just wondering, how can I go about it, to hopefully get my job back? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Herman, no applause, Mr. Herman.
In my hand, I have a project in Palisades, and the Department of LADBS landslide and fire hazard zones and earthquake zones for housings that you heard earlier on the special item 20. No coastal permits, no CEQA, no public hearing, and before LADBS permits were issued, unlawful development projects. So I say to you, constituents, and those of you in the Bel Air area, go out to the objection at 283 Trino Way Development Project, where mansionation by Krikorian and Mr. Koretz continues to be illegal and unlawful by what? LADBS permits. And in my hand, I have it signed and stamped by the city clerk. So you will be receiving, for the record, a complete packet that you are violating the rights of persons in the Palisades area. Illegal and fraud.
Thank you. I do not see Mr. Akala. Frank, did you want to speak on general public comment, or were you finished when you spoke on item 1? Frank? So you're good. David Reed? Okay, I see Leah Randall. If you please come back. And David Reed again. And do we have Susan Roca? Okay, if you come up behind. You get 1 minute.
Okay, hi. Me?
She asked him,
I just asked myself to be filmed.
Just
Thank
go
you.
on and take your
Oh,
minute.
wait. That's mine. You get mine on top.
Wait, hold her time. We thought you were giving it to the... Okay, now come on, Miss Renee. Now we'll run her time. Go ahead.
Hi. My name is Leah Renee, and for the record, I'm following up on a California Coastal Commission meeting that I had, and I wanted to make sure you were all aware of the same documents I did give to the California Coastal Commissioners. This is really serious stuff. Your Department of Building and Safety is committing fraud on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and the State of California. and how I can say that they issued building permits without a California coastal permit. You do have a local coastal program. It is not yet certified. You have a local coastal permit program that needs to have public hearings. I addressed all of that. And here are all the landslides that we're on top of. Here's a coastal print. There's sand. Anybody who doesn't think I'm on a bluff, there's the beach sand. Here's a seismic hazard zone. Here's the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Here's the State Interior Department. Here's a geological survey. Which one of these things is it okay to build on top of a Department of Building Safety landslide, and you give 14 building permits? I'm a year and a half every single day, every hour, asking for help, and I don't have help. I need help.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, we have Ms. Roca next. Ms. Roca next. And last call for David Reed. Ms. Roca, please come forward.
My name is Susan Rocha. My name is Susan Rocha, and I am a SLAP victim. SLAPP, strategic lawsuit against public participation. After doing an interview with ABC7 What's Bugging You Noise, Father Marco Ortiz took me to court in retaliation. The most powerful have big pockets and people like me that don't. I still fought and I still won. He lost. But we need support for anti-SLAP laws, which California has, but LA should have their own on the books. And for longer SLAP back times, so victims have a chance to have enough time to get the courage up to slap back. I want you to speak up for First Amendment rights, which is the freedom of speech. And that's supporting anti-SLAP, not letting people...
Thank you. Thank you. Arnold, did you put in a card? Well, here, help me find it, guys. Mr. Sachs. I may have misfiled it, Arnold, so that's my mistake.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. You do yourself a disservice, especially when you do a presentation like you did today for 2.5 hours. Again, people come to this committee, this council. Part of the agenda includes public comment. 2.5 hours of presentation, 1 minute for public comment. You do yourself a big disservice there. It's really unfortunate.
No applause. Go on, Arnold.
You see, again, that's the same thing. You know, they say the same thing at the county, but you have applause when you want applause. You need to differentiate between when you say no applause, when you have presentations, you have applause. So what's the difference? Because you're applauding something that you like, but you don't like getting some feedback from the public. That's not fair. That's not fair, and that's not what we celebrate holidays for. Memorial Day, the opportunity to be...
Thank you, Arnold. Yeah, thank you. All right, so that concludes general public comment. Mr. Clerk, that brings this body where?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referral.
The desk is clear.
The desk is clear. Announcements, please. Announcements, members.
Yep.
Yes, Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just wanted to thank the entire city family. Yesterday we had a donation drive on the south lawn of City Hall to assist the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission getting back on their feet. And I'm pleased to say that city employees, including council members and their staff, our city controller's office, the public works employees, street service employees, fire department employees, LAPD, members of the clerk's office, all came together and collected over $7,000. Wow. And 350 bags and boxes of donated items. They filled an entire truckload for the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission. So Department of Sanitation or Bureau of Sanitation was especially helpful in providing bins for the donations, and GSD for supplying tables and chairs, and the Recreation and Parks Department, of course, were very, very helpful. And so I wanted to thank everyone for making the drive such a success.
Kudos to the city family. Any other announcements? If I could get everyone to please rise. please rise for our adjourning motions. I will look on my left side first. Mr. Cedillo.
Yes, just very briefly, I don't recall us doing this, but Congresswoman Maxine Waters is a great champion for the city of Los Angeles and the state. Did we do this already?
Yes. Yes, we did. Mr. Parks did, didn't we?
Did we do this?
Yes, Mr. Parks did it.
Well, God rest her soul. She today is her funeral, and so I just wanted to note that. Obviously, it's taking place in St. Louis, but I think Miss Waters deserves more embrace, more love, and more appreciation for these difficult times.
That she does. Adjourning motions on my right side. Mr. Parks.
Thank you. I have two adjourning motions. One, I'd like us to join and adjourn in memory of Wallace Maurice DeCure, who passed away May 4th, 2015. He was born in March 1922 in Louisiana. His father passed before his birth, and at the age of 7, his mother moved and relocated to Los Angeles. Wallace attended Polytechnic High School, where he graduated in 1940. In 1942, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy and was given an honorable discharge in 1945. He later met his wife, Myrtle, and they were married in 1949. Wallace joined the Los Angeles Fire Department in 1946. He served at Station 94, where he retired in 1978. After his retirement, he established the Cure Sun carpet installation business with his two sons, Wallace, Mike DeCure, and John. In 2008, he retired from the carpet business. Myrtle, his wife of 61 years, passed in January 2010. Wallace was 92 years old when he passed away and is survived by his two sons, Mike and John, and a host of family members. Also, I'd ask that we adjourn in memory of Joseph Thomas Kay, Jr., who was born in 1947 in Little Rock, Arkansas, and passed away Wednesday, May 21st, 2014. Kay's family moved to Los Angeles in 1955. He's a graduate of Hamilton High School in 1965, and in 1966 he joined the U.S. Air Force and received an honorable discharge in 1970. During that time, he married his wife Sharon in 1968, and they had two sons, Kevin and Kelly. After his military and working for Safeway store for Los Angeles for some years, he completed his police officer basic training at Pasadena City College in 1973. He then joined the LA County Marshal's Office. The next 10 years were spent furthering his education. He received a bachelor's degree in public administration from Cal State Dominguez Hills in 1978. In 83, he received his JD from Southwestern University. In 84, he transitioned laterally to the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office as an investigator. He worked in various departments, including major frauds, child abduction, elderly abuse. He retired in 2003, and post-retirement, he was a background investigator for the DA's office until declining health prevented him from working. Joseph coached his sons, Kevin and Kelly, and many other young men at Sportsman's Little League in Inglewood. His influence extended on and off the field. This love and attention afforded his sons extended to his grandchildren, Taylor and Thomas. Joseph has a gregarious personality, a generous spirit, genuine likability. He was displayed a willingness to help when friends or neighbors were in need of help with odd jobs. He liked to work with his hands and spent long hours in the wood shop behind his garage. During his retirement, Joseph had two new loves, one traveling and the other golf. His first 5 years of his retirement, he traveled to Ethiopia, Kenya, Egypt, Greece, and Turkey. Joseph also enjoyed weekend excursions with his RV family and friends. He's survived by his wife, two sons, Kevin and Kelly, and a host of family members, and he's the grandfather of one of CD8's interns, Taylor Kay.
Mr. LaBonge.
Adjourned in memory of Elsa Stockton, who had a wonderful life, was married for 67 years. Her husband, preceded her in death, along with her son Thomas. She's survived by her daughter Sharon. She was a wave in World War II, serving the United States military as a clerical person. and she worked for the city of Los Angeles for over 3 decades in the Department of Water and Power as an assistant to the general manager of the DWP. Elsa Stockton, much loved by many friends. May she rest in peace.
Thank you. Any more adjourning motions? Members have a productive weekend, and this session is adjourned.